Hey guys, what's up? We're back with some more Reactions After Dark, and we are, of course, going to be watching Japan's Twitter killer sleeps with 9 severed heads in his tiny Tokyo apartment by Rotten Mango. So I was just searching through her stuff. I've seen this one pop up a bunch of times. Might know this story, though, already from other YouTubers. We'll have to see. It's not that long. It's an hour and 22. So figured I'd do this one. We're kind of like in a like an impasse now because we finished Burning Sun. And it's like, okay, now what? Now what do we do? So I guess I'm just gonna start picking things at random that I see that seem fine, and start watching them for Rotten Mango whenever we do Rotten Mango every other day. Uh, Stephanie Sue stuff I still haven't gotten around to just because I've mentioned it before. I'll do it. I'll mention it again. The Chinaverse stuff, there's a playlist you can look up, but most of those videos are mukbang videos, and I'm just like, I kind of think you're doing too much if we're going to react to someone eating food. I mean, of course, you're going to be talking about the story, but I feel like a lot of that is in talking about the food, eating the food, etc., etc. So I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I should just start with the videos that stop being mukbangs or what. I just seem like it'd be weird to just watch a video of eating as a reaction specifically. So who knows what we're gonna do with the Chinaverse stuff? That's something to get back to later. Yeah, I think we can just get straight into it now. If I think of anything else to talk about, I'll just mention it later.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Takahiro woke up and his head is pounding.
I feel like I've seen this guy's face, which is why I think I know this story.
He can feel it in his ears. He's slouched over the bathtub. His head is resting on his arm, and he's thinking, maybe I drank too much last night. That would explain why he's in the restroom. But then there's this unpleasant smell. I mean, he's a 27-year-old bachelor. Maybe he left some food out. Maybe he forgot to flush the toilet. That wouldn't be the first time. But all he remembers is that he got home really late last night. He ate something that upset his stomach a little bit, some spaghetti and steamed chicken that probably went bad. And the next thing he knew, he's knocked out. And when Takahiro falls asleep, he sleeps hard. It's like an explosion could occur and he wouldn't even wake up. Complete blackout. He doesn't even remember when he fell asleep. But he had been woken up by the smell. In Tokyo, the apartments are tiny, so any small thing can stench up the entire place. His apartment was only 150 square feet.
So it's like New York City, tiny boxes.
Probably a little smaller. And this was not the smell of vomit that he's sniffing. I mean, which would make more sense, probably. It was so much worse than vomit, and it was everywhere. It's like rotting meat that's mixed with rotting bananas.
So we're going with it's a human corpse because we're introducing like the sweet smell that we always hear about, where a human corpse smells bad, but also with a little bit of sweetness to it for some reason. She's mentioned it before.
He's focusing his eyes on what's in front of him in the bathtub, floating in a pool of cold, reddish water are body pieces that have been cut up. There is a head with long tangled hair that's completely severed off and is laying there in a bucket of kitty litter. The arms are cut off from the body. The hands are cut off from the arms. Blood is spilling out of the bathtub onto the walls, onto the tiled floors. It's seeping into the grout. Blood, organs, they're all sectioned off into different groups. Like someone was prepping a dinner, they prep different ingredients. They're sectioned off and they're just kind of floating in different sections of the bathtub. If Takahiro wasn't awake earlier, he definitely was awake now.
Always late to saying this, but viewer discretion's advised, obviously.
There was no way that he could just leave this sitting in his bathroom. The neighbors are going to get suspicious. They're going to smell. The smell is eye-watering. He starts panicking, hyperventilating from the scent. Takahiro goes into fight or flight mode. I mean, he has no doubt that if he calls the police, he's going to be suspect number one because there's dismembered body parts in his own apartment bathroom. Who else is going to be the suspect? How is he going to explain this away? And he absolutely could not report this. He was already on probation. One little mess up, and he would be thrown in prison for a very, very long time.
What did he do before?
His eyes are watering, and Takahiro desperately just wants to go back to sleep, but instead he grabs his rain jacket, puts on a mask, snaps on a pair of goggles. How is he going to dispose of his little friend? Or the 8 other severed heads in his living room?
Roll it back.
Or the 8 other severed heads in his living room?
So this is like the end of his spree, and he's not like actually surprised that it's like this. He just couldn't remember what he did to get to that point, but he's already been doing this for a while. But yeah, viewer discretion is advised as usual. Always forget to talk about that. And whatever I do is already too late, right?
We would like to thank today's sponsors who have made it possible for Rotten Mango to support the JED Foundation. JED is a nonprofit that exists to protect the emotional health of our nation's teens and young adults. They partner with high schools and colleges to strengthen their mental health, substance abuse, and suicide prevention programs and systems. This episode's partnerships have also made it possible to support Rotten Mango's growing team of dedicated researchers and translators.
What other jobs do her and her husband have? It kind of seems like I haven't really been paying attention to when she talks at the beginning, like right there, but her sponsors help the charities. So is she giving all her money to charity? Then how do you have like these crazy lavish backgrounds, like what I assume is your house and bedroom, like these crazy bedrooms, crazy background setting? Like it seems like there's just so much money. And if you're giving all the charity, where is the money coming from? Where's the other jobs? Unless it's just her other channels, and then maybe the husband has some sort of crazy job, I guess, plus paying the reporters and all that she has. She's saying that now. Or I mean, I guess not all of it has to go to charity, but it just seems like it's all going to charity. Where's the rest of it? Not in a bad way. I'm just like, what do y'all do to have like what appears to be so much money outside of YouTube?
We'd also like to thank our listeners for your continued support as we work on our mission to be worthy advocates of these causes. As always, full show notes are available at rottenmangopodcast.com. We had our wonderful Japanese-speaking researchers gather the data for this case, which included poring over books, documents, documentaries, and providing cultural context for us to better understand everything. Now, as always, with any case, but especially the international ones, please let us know if there was anything lost in translation, miscommunicated, or if there is any additional information that you have, please let us know down in the comments. Now, before we get started, a quick disclaimer. The victims' families in the story today wish to remain anonymous. Their names and background have been leaked online. We want to remain respectful of their wishes, and we have decided to exclude all of that information from today's episode. All the victim names have been changed to aliases. Additionally, this case deals heavily with mentions of self-exits and essay against one of the more vulnerable groups of the population, as well as necrophilia. So if that is something that you are not comfortable listening to, or perhaps you're not in the right headspace for, go make your favorite meal, settle down with your favorite comfort movie, and we can see you in the next one. Mr. Ono is a very accomplished author, and he's sitting across from Takahiro.
Takahiro is the criminal, correct? I'm not sure. I'm assuming that's that guy's name, right? And she already said, like, she usually says this, which I don't really, again, pay attention to it often either, but, you know, go watch another video if you're not able to deal with this content for the day. Same thing here. I mean, can watch this. I have Duolingo, that's language learning videos. We got Ring Fit, which I'm assuming nobody understands or knows what that is, but Ring Fit is exercise. It's an exercise video game, so yeah, it is a video game, but it's about exercising. So a lot of like variety over here. We have exercise stuff, we got language learning stuff, video games, just normal video games, and then obviously reactions to dark things. That's basically the order. First video for the day is exercise. Second video is learning a language. Third video is gameplay, and then the fourth video is the reaction to this. I'm assuming no one is looking too heavily at the other stuff that I post, but if you didn't know, that's what is happening on the channel outside of these videos.
Takahiro is rolling his head from side to side, and he always keeps his eyes closed. That's what he notices. Mr. Ono, do you play shogi? Japanese chess, which focuses heavily on strategy. Do you know how to play, Mr. Ono? I do, but I don't play often. Do you play, Mr. Takahiro? I've been studying shogi, but I can't play against anyone, so I write on a piece of paper and I play shogi by myself. I discovered that there's techniques that you can't master even though you understand them. By the way, Mr. Ono, I read your book, The Logic of Murder. You know, you're really skilled at creating a narrative. I've been trying to finish your other book, Serial Killers. I've been reading it all the time. Sometimes my hands feel heavy when I have to read it, but I push through and I flip the pages. I thought it would be impolite to not finish the book, so I kept turning. Mr. Ono was not here to talk about his own books. He was here to talk about Takahiro and the past 2 months of Takahiro's life. So he grabs his pen and paper and he asks, Takahiro, was it an unforgettable experience?
What are we talking about? The murders?
He closes his eyes again and rolls his head. And he waits. Or rather, he makes Mr. Ono wait. I remember it well. Looking back now, I can say one thing. The smell of all 9 people, when you open them up, is so interesting. They all smell different from one another. There are a few games in this world that you should just never play.
Games? What do you mean by games? Like video games, board games, just like, I don't know, physical games, you know, like hide and seek, like
The price you have to pay to play is just way too high.
casino games?
Have you ever heard of the Blackout Challenge?
Blackout challenge. That sounds like something where you're trying to like not pass out from suffocation or something.
The Blackout Challenge is, I wouldn't call it a game, but some people do. It's a game that a lot of
Or like being strangled, something. Something has to do with lack of oxygen.
kids often play where one person in some way or another restricts another person's breathing for
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
just enough time where they pass out for a few minutes. But that's really hard to gauge.
Yeah, probably shouldn't be doing that, but I feel like people can consider that like a high, and that's why they would do it. Like the moment before passing out, or passing out itself probably feels something like that. I think that's the thing, right? That's why you do that.
And it sounds crazy, but it's very similar to kids sucking helium out of balloons for the same effect. They say
That there was a galaxy gas, I thought that stuff's called, the epidemic that was happening. I haven't heard of it since, so maybe it's not a big deal anymore. But there's like these cans of some sort of gas that kids were buying off Amazon, off the internet, because it's just gas, right? That's supposed to be used for cooking or something like that. And they would use it like a drug. They would take a shot of it, and you get like a quick high off it. Like it's like an instantaneous high, and it immediately wears out. But I've seen videos of like kids, and by kids I mean teenagers in high school, taking a hit and then like toppling over because they're like passing out for like a split second.
it gives them a state of euphoria, which it doesn't. And on top of that, it gives anyone who's watching that person passed out, it gives them a rush of adrenaline. What are they going to experience when they black out? How is it going to feel for that person? How long are they going to be knocked out for? So for some people, they never make their way back. More recently, 15 children have died from playing the Blackout Challenge, and all of them were younger than 12 years old.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
how is this normalized?
Yeah, I haven't heard of Blackout Challenge, but just the name itself makes is enough info to like figure out what's happening. Like people are being strangled for like a high, a possible high.
Takahiro used to play the Blackout Challenge when he was 12 years old.
That means this is old then. He's an adult, so this must have been a long time ago. Again, I don't know what happened to Galaxy Gas or whatever it's called. Maybe I can look it up. Let's see what happened to it. Yeah, I don't know. I looked it up, and the chemical is nitrous oxide, which is supposed to be used for like refilling like whipped cream cans or stuff like that. That's why I said like for cooking. But you could just like suck it out of the can like it itself is like whipped cream, and that's what kids were doing. It might still be around. I don't know where. Apparently, someone filed a lawsuit against them in 2025. Like people have died allegedly. So yeah, again, just don't do drugs, kids. Even things that are not necessarily drugs, like sniffing Sharpies. I mean, everybody knows that one from the back in the day. Sniffing markers, all that stuff. Don't do it.
To him, it was just a fun little game that he and his friends would indulge in. And when they would come back from blacking out, they would tell each other what it was like, what they saw, what they remembered, everything. And sometimes they would even have these mild symptoms or side effects while playing the game. They're temporary, they're short term, but it's scary. Difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing. Some of them have even noticed small red or purple dots on their face, or the whites of their eyes would go blood red from the blood vessels bursting in their eyeballs. And that's just what you can see. Even if you play the game once and you survive it as a kid, that doesn't necessarily mean that you've escaped its effects. I mean, since your brain is no longer receiving oxygen, you may experience memory loss. So what if one innocent game of blackout changes your entire brain chemistry?
Are you saying that he blacked out so hard in this game that he has, I don't know, he's a psychopath, and that also affected his sleeping, where he just cannot be woken up?
It does something to your brain. What if it scars you for the rest of your life? 30 forensic experts were crammed into a tiny 150 square foot apartment in Tokyo. They're back to back, rubbing shoulders. Everything has to be done carefully and meticulously. I mean, they had never seen anything like this before.
I feel like you shouldn't have so many people crammed in like sardines.
The box over there. One of the forensic specialists walks over, opens the lid of a storage box next to the couch. It's filled with cat litter. They start using their brush to scrape away some of the cat litter, and a few inches down. I found one. They see a forehead. They brush away more cat litter. A severed head is staring up at them. This was the 9th one. The experts went through all the boxes stacked neatly on just one side of this lofted studio apartment, and each time they opened a box, they found more evidence. The evidence was logged and listed as Box 1, 2 heads, discolored pale green with protruding eyeballs, both eyes open and eyes are cloudy. Box 2, 2 heads, one leathery and slightly brown on some parts and greenish yellow on other parts. The other head reddish brown with closed eyelids. Box 3, 6 human bones and 8 pieces of meat that appear to be internal organs. Box 4, 31 human bones, 1 head has dried and turned brown, eyes could not be identified. Box 5, 77 pieces of human remains. Box 6, 32 pieces of human remains, 3 heads, of which 1 has tape on the lip area. Box 7, human bones, 1 head brown in color in the process of quote drying, covered with adhesive tape. The bones were stacked into the boxes neatly, like a game of Tetris.
What is box 8?
To maximize space. And in total, the police found 9 severed heads in a 27-year-old's Tokyo apartment. Did you test the blender? Yes, positive for blood. 2 months before this, Allison was given very clear instructions, and she was all in. It's the middle of summer in 2017, and to her, this was going to be a very pivotal moment. She's got everything that she needs, or rather, she's got everything that she needs to get rid of. She is about to make an irreversible, life-changing moment, and she's feeling doki doki.
I think that was a weird use of the word doki doki. Is it onomatopoeia? It means like anxious if you use it, like excited. Maybe there's like adrenaline pumping. Usually you see doki doki when there's like romance stuff happening. You'll see it in the background because they're overwhelmed with emotions, embarrassed, etc.
So that term means extremely nervous, but it has 2 connotations. You can use it in a negative way, like when you get called into the principal's office and you feel kind of nervous because you're like, I don't know what's going to happen. Or you can use it in a positive light because you're waiting for your crush to text you back.
Yeah, I mean, for romance stuff usually, but yeah, it can be used for when you're scared.
Allison is feeling
for more clarification, doki doki is like the sound of your heartbeat. So it's like doki doki.
both of those things. She's feeling doki doki in every way. She put in her notice at work. She worked at an office job that she really didn't care much for, so she just sent in an email. Today's going to be my last day. Once that was done, she shuts her laptop, pulls out a blank sheet of paper, and writes a note for her family. This was probably the hardest part, but the instructions were very clear. This step was so important. She was supposed to tell her family, do not by any means come looking for me because I don't want to be found.
Huh?
Allison's hand is shaking as she's writing it, and she's holding back the tears, trying not to get emotional. She decides, maybe the shorter the better. I want to live alone, so I'm running away from home. She sits there, holding back her tears, staring at the words on her paper. I mean, at least part of it is true. She folds up the note and leaves it on her desk. This is where her mom is going to find it. And she keeps talking herself into it. This is the thing that makes the most sense. This is what I need to do, right? What I was told to do. And now it's almost complete. She's walking around the sunny afternoon in Tokyo, waiting for the next instruction. She's scrolling on her phone, passing the time with all these funny, cute little animal videos, and she's checking her friend's group chat. And she
says she's looking for the next instruction. And are we being like literal for that? She's waiting for someone to tell her what to do now?
catches herself smiling at the group chat until she realizes, I will never be able to respond to them ever again. And for a second, she questions, am I really doing this right now? If I do this, there's no turning back. Am I 1,000% sure that this is what I want?
Is this person going to die? She's giving way too much inner monologue for someone who would not have been able to give us that sort of information if they had died. So I'm wondering if this person is still alive.
No.
I don't know if this would have been the reason the guy got caught.
Yeah, of course it is. And plus, she's not alone. The person giving her all these instructions has done this so many times in the past, and they know what they're doing, and Allison gives him her full trust. She gets another message on her phone. Meet me at the train station. Before you do, throw your phone into the ocean.
Throw your phone into the ocean? Okay, so he's trying to just get rid of this girl. So it's some sort of setup, some sort of snake oil to be like, oh, you got to do this, 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 and this. Make sure no one comes looking for you. Get rid of your phone, so I can secretly kill you. I mean, they don't know that, but I assume that's what's happening here. Also, I think I forgot to talk about this. Maybe I don't think I talked about it. I talked about it yesterday, but I said I was going to talk about it today because most people would be watching the Rotten Mango stuff. I am... Well, last time I checked, I was like 50 hours away from being able to become partner, so that's good. Finally can become partner, but 3 days from now, YouTube is implementing a new set of rules that are like going against lazy content. But it's specifically for like AI stuff, but I'm assuming reactions can kind of fall under what they're talking about, and I feel like a lot of reaction stuff is going to be hit. So I'm worried that means that I can't become partner because, I mean, the only reason that we've gotten this far now is because of the reaction stuff. I mean, it's not going to change anything. I'm not going to stop doing YouTube. I'm going to be here forever. I plan to be here for the rest of ever. But it's just like, really? The moment I'm finally going to become partner, they implement rules literally 3 days from now that will stop me from becoming partner. It's like, really, YouTube? Like, what is the coincidence? But yeah. Sucks if that happens, but what can you do? Like, I'll know either today if it adds like another 50, because YouTube's like 5 days behind on watch hours, or tomorrow. So one of these next 2 days, I'll know, and then I'll try and see what happens.
The ocean. She's already near the train station.
Yeah, it just seems like she's being set up to be killed, and nobody will be worried.
She's not going to leave and go to the ocean, throw her phone away. I mean, it's an expensive phone. That's
like trying to make the perfect crime, I guess.
That's kind of extreme. So she walks into the train station, looks around, spots a restroom, and she's thinking, I'm just going to hide my phone in here. She pushes in the door, and she's staring at herself in the mirror, and she's thinking, yeah, this makes sense. The ocean's too permanent. If I leave my phone in here, at least it's convenient as a backup plan if I have to come back and get it.
Yeah, but like, come back and get it when? Like, when are you just going to leave it like in a restroom and expect nobody to find it? Like, people go in there and clean those things every day?
Allison hid her phone in one of the stalls just in case.
Yeah, but where?
Eventually, somebody would come back for that phone. It just would not be Allison.
Okay, so he knew where she put it. She must have told him.
Takahiro wakes up in the restroom with the body in the tub. He had fallen asleep, and his muscles are aching, and he just feels purely exhausted.
Also, how did we get that photo? Who took that photo? It's almost like a recreation.
His mind is clearing up, and all the memories of last night are just coming flooding back.
I didn't even like think about it last time, but now that I'm seeing it again, like who took that photo of him?
He runs out of the bathroom. He sees a purse laying on the ground. He snatches it up, and in it is an ID. Allison, 21 years old. He remembered. I mean, of course he did. How could he forget? He killed Allison, and he remembered every last joyous second of it. All of it. He had contemplated for 5 whole days on whether or not he wanted to kill Allison. Ultimately, he didn't want to, but it was necessary. Takahiro was on Twitter with the sole purpose of finding someone that he could scam out of money.
Look at this anime boy. Custom anime boy. Profile pic here. What is going on with the neck? I'm guessing it's like sliced, like slit throat there.
He thought about the typical ways to scam, pretend to have some sort of business that someone can invest in, another opportunity. But all of that seemed like so much work. You had to forge papers, you had to create like a company logo. So the plan was, you know what? I'm just going to find a vulnerable population of women, scam them out of their money by pretending to be interested in them, pretending to be their boyfriend.
Okay, that actually worked.
Takahiro went online specifically looking for girls with Twitter accounts where they expressed very deep negative emotions, dark thoughts about wanting to exit. He meets Allison and he starts messaging her on Twitter, and he pretends to be this great listening ear that I just want to help you. I feel like I can relate to your feelings. I went through the same things as you. But in reality, he thought this was his ticket out. Get her to believe that he was interested in her, then ask her for her money. I mean, he just had this obsession of wanting to move into his own place. He was so sick of living with his parents. He wanted his own studio apartment with a loft. It had to have a loft. After bonding with Allison and telling her everything that she wants to hear, he starts telling her about his life dreams. I want a room with a loft. Even if it's small, I think it'll be good. Ooh, then you'd have to work really hard from now on. But you know, I heard lofts get really hot in the summer, and it's surprisingly inconvenient, I heard, to have a loft.
I mean, I guess if we're going off of like height things, right? Heat rises. And I guess in Japan, I don't know if they have just normal air conditioning like most American things have, but yeah, what we saw, we had like what this, and then this. Pretend that's a ladder. This was like the bathroom for the place. And like you would have your bed up here instead of like this was like the whole room. Like typically you would have like a futon on the ground, right? But not with a loft. You'd put it up here, I'm guessing. Also, wouldn't it like start drawing arrows like this instead of like making them so cruddy? So the heat would go up. So I'm guessing the hottest part of the room is up here, just off of how heat works. So the coolest part at the bottom, hottest part at the top, so that makes sense. I know there's like random like thoughts about something that has nothing to do with the dark stuff that's happening here, but
On. But you know, I heard lofts get really hot in the summer, and it's surprisingly inconvenient, I heard, to have a loft because you got to go up and down. No.
I mean, exercise.
I want a loft. I want to put my stuff in the loft.
You put your stuff up top where the bed goes.
Takahiro absolutely had to have a loft, apparently. But he was unemployed with no income and no savings, and that's where Allison comes in. He convinces her to let him borrow $4,500, which he would use as proof of funds to get the apartment lease for his loft studio.
Okay, oh yeah, I guess even Japan has that. You need to, if you want to live somewhere, you need to show them that you make money, enough money to live where you're trying to live. And $4,000, that's a lot of money. I assume that that's not how much you need per month. So he must have needed like, what, 1,000 something per month? Because over here there's like a 3 times rule, which I personally am having to deal with because I don't want to get into that. But I mentioned it in passing before. some billionaire bought up a bunch of lands, including these apartments, and they're going to be torn down pretty soon, along with other stuff. So they could put like parking lots and like a baseball field. So it's like literally destroying homes, so you can have a parking lot and baseball fields. Like, thanks. And apparently everything needs ×3 plus income to actually let you move in. So it's like, really? That's how things are? So if you're just poor, I guess you just gotta live on the streets then. Because places won't let you in if you don't make 3 times what the rent is. Like, cool, thanks.
Which, side note, the loft that he got wasn't even that luxurious. He didn't want a loft because it made him feel like he's living the life. The place was actually quite small, 150 square feet. You walk in on the left.
Yeah, we saw this earlier. But I was trying to recreate what we saw here with like the bathroom door, the ladder, and this loft. But he wanted to put stuff up there, but it seems like all the boxes, assuming these are where they were placed, weren't even up there. So where did he sleep? I guess he slept here. Did he put his futon down here with the boxes? I mean, she says he sleeps with 9 severed heads. So I mean, if you put the futon here with the boxes, that would make sense. Like right there. Also, you might be confused because I think if you're American, maybe, like, which is not actually that many people, surprisingly, the highest number of people who watch my channel are from Japan, and then the second highest was France. Last time I checked, so like America is in the top 5, but not by much. But I think the Japanese population was just because of like the Duolingo stuff that I was doing. But when you think of like a futon over here, you would think of like a couch. Like this, that this part bends backwards to become a bed, right? That's what you think of a futon. Like there's a cushioned, long cushion going along this. That would be like the bed or the couch part. But a futon in Japan is basically just like a cushion that you lay on the ground, I think.
Left is the door to the bathroom.
But it's kind of like the same thing. The futon's cushion, the couch cushion, you could argue is the same thing. You would just throw it on the ground instead of having it attached to a couch.
You walk a few steps further, that's the studio. You're in the main room. It's like a studio apartment unit. There's a tiny little, I don't even know if I can call it a kitchen. It's more like a kitchenette.
It looks worse in real life than that little diagram.
It's a tiny sink, maybe the size of a bathroom sink, a mini fridge, and a singular stovetop. That's it. Then next to the kitchen is the ladder up the loft, which does make the place feel a little bit bigger, but it's still really small. But to him, this loft was perfect.
I mean, you could like hang stuff further off, like shelves and stuff, that extends the verticality of placement.
Room 205 was gonna be his. Are you sure you don't want to just wait a few more weeks? The realtor is staring at Takahiro like he's lost his freaking mind. Are you sure you're understanding what I'm telling you right now? We've got a 1-month free rent promotion going on. You would get the most bang for your buck if you waited until the beginning of the next month to sign the contract. Because if you move in now, you only get a week off of rent instead of the entire month off. So just wait 3 weeks and then you could have a full month of free rent. Like I said, no thank you. I want the room now, even if I don't get any discount. The realtor looked at him like he's kind of crazy, but okay, he lets him sign the papers and gives him the keys. Now, Takahiro is standing in the main living area, staring up at the loft that's 6.5 feet above, staring at the railing. It was perfect.
Yeah, what is this obsession with a loft? Are we ever going to be told, like, why is he obsessed with it? Is it just, are we going to argue, like, a lot of this is just the brain damage that he suffered from the Blackout game? Or, some sort of hyper obsession, hyperfixation that he has, like disorder? Question mark. So he needs certain things. Like when he wants something, he needs to have it that moment, or else he like loses it.
Allison was gonna die here. I mean, that wasn't the original plan. The original plan was to keep Allison around so that she could finance his whole life. His original plan was, and I quote, I wanted to get as much as I could get. I wanted it all. Her money, that is. But he felt like he had no choice now. Allison was starting to pull away from him, and he had this suspicion that she was seeing a new boyfriend, which that only means one thing. If Allison has a new boyfriend, she's going to want her money back, and she's going to ask Takahiro to pay her back the $4,500, and he can't. He said, I thought about how I could avoid paying her back, and I decided I just had to kill her. Takahiro would commit his first murder over $4,500. Once he was set on his plan, he started searching online. How to kill. How to dismember a human. How to dismember a cow. How to...
Like, why do you look these things up? Like, they're not gonna find that out, and like Google's not getting like a ping saying, "Hey, someone's looking up how to kill somebody. Maybe we should get authorities to see this."
dispose of a body. How to destroy the evidence. Takahiro went out and he bought a saw. He invited Allison over to visit his new apartment that she paid for. And side note, Takahiro was searching online how to dismember a body while he was waiting for Allison to arrive. He hears a knock on the door. He quickly exits out of the browser on his phone. Come in, come in. She walks in. She's looking around. I mean, it's a small space, but it's kind of cozy. She's looking around. No, it's really nice. Very nice. Takahiro nods and is like, sit, sit. She sits down on the main room couch. So this is the first floor, not in the loft. And he pours her a glass of alcohol. Mid-conversation, he just gets up. She has no idea what's going on. He just gets up mid-conversation, walks to the front door of the apartment, locks...
I was gonna say, was he gonna lock the door? I mean, it should have been locked just naturally, but I guess just left it open.
it, chain locks it,
It's heavy duty locking.
immediately U-turns, takes like 5 big steps towards Allison, and just starts groping her chest out of nowhere. Takahiro said he always wanted to surprise attack like this. But when she resisted his advances, that's just when something came over him. He liked that she was resisting. So he fully attacked her. He pushed her down completely, wrapped his hands around her neck, and started choking her. Allison was fighting back hard. It took Takahiro 5 long minutes before Allison lost consciousness. He essayed her unconscious body, and he said, I originally did it because I haven't been active in a while. But he said he ended up, surprisingly, really loving it, to the point where the idea of regular consensual relations was never going to do it for him again. He then proceeded to tie her arms and legs together with long cords that he prepared. He wrapped a rope around Allison, and then the other end he had in his hand as he went up the ladder, wrapped it around the railing, and started playing tug-of-war. He climbed up and
Hold on.
wrapped it around...
I was not focused enough
was
for that.
never going to do it for him again. He then proceeded to tie her arms and legs together with long cords that he prepared. He wrapped a rope around Allison, and then the other end he had in his hand as he went up the ladder, wrapped it around the railing, and started playing tug-of-war.
I don't know what the long pause was. I'm just not missing. I'm missing what she is trying to imply with that.
He climbed up and he pulled until Allison was in a standing position and eventually a floating position. She was still alive at this point.
Okay. So I think he's trying to hang her. So she wasn't dead yet. I was like, thought she was dead. She's not dead yet. So he's hanging her now, I think. Question mark?
But with that action, her airflow was gradually being cut off. Takahiro, when he secured the rope, he ran down to the main floor and he just watched from below. He saw her convulse. Then she urinated on herself, which typically lack of oxygen to the brain makes it unable to control the muscles that are normally holding in the urine. And he sat there for 30 minutes until her body became cold to the touch. He sat and watched all 30 minutes of it. It was like a mini performance in his own apartment. He said for those 30 minutes, just watching, I have to admit, my heart was beating very fast, even though I wasn't even exercising. And he had this brief moment when he realized, oh, she's dead. He thought, oh my gosh, I've done something very bad. But it quickly turned into, how do I not get caught? So he took her body down, moved her into the bathroom to, quote, dismantle her because he knew it wouldn't be good to wait any longer. He read online articles that bodies decompose faster than you would think, so he wanted to get to work immediately. He felt like it was only natural to, quote, cut off her head and drain the blood. So he put her on her back, stared at her face as he got to work, and he got really descriptive with it, but he said the process of that, he said, you know when you shake a Coke bottle and you open it and it comes gushing out? Mm-hmm. That's how the blood came out of the neck. like you turn on a faucet upward and let the water just come up. At that moment, the sight of that is making Takahiro dizzy. He's starting to get this raging migraine, but he's like, I gotta continue. He said, quote, the image, the smell, just wow. Still, I knew I had to do it or else I would get caught. He parted the head from the neck and started draining the blood. He stated he cut off the shoulders. Then he severed the wrists and the hands from the rest of the arm. He parted the rest of the arm in half at the elbows. He filled the tub with water and added fresh bath salts and, quote, left all the body parts floating in there. He was about to start on the legs, but he said that he reached his limit mentally and he knocked out. And he describes it as, quote, sleeping like a log. He woke up in front of Allison's dead body, and even now, staring at the floating corpse in the bathtub, he thought all of it was worth it. When he wakes up, he immediately starts working on the lower half of her body, and he said he kept thinking to himself, motivating himself to keep going. I just have to do this today. I just have to do this today. He finished up dismembering the lower half and started to, quote, cut the skin and remove the meat from the bones. He placed all the meat, organs, and smaller bones into pee-pee pads, like the ones that you would get for your pet. He wrapped them up, shoved them into a Ziploc bag. Then he got the Ziploc bag, wrapped that in newspaper, and then threw them away in a black trash bag in his apartment building's trash can.
Just in the trash. Like, no one's going to end up seeing that. The garbage men aren't going to find out that you did that. I feel like that's just like you're immediately going to get caught. Like, hello, I mean, we're not saying this guy's like smart or anything, but just like really just in the trash. That's what you were doing?
That was the method he used?
But that's just for the organs and a lot of the big chunks of flesh.
And that worked for him. Wow.
Most of the bigger bones of the body
Well, for how long?
were left over, including the head. He wasn't entirely sure what to do with those parts yet, but the main problem that Takahiro had at this point, he said, was the smell. It was getting worse by the hour. First, he did some research on his phone about odor elimination, and he looks up just, quote, rotting smell, and he ends up getting a ton of results for bleach, cat litter, so he starts trying them all. Takahiro even tries to buy this sterilizer that's typically known to sterilize kitchen utensils and cutting boards. I believe it's restaurant grade.
Where's he getting this money from?
And the sight of dismembering a body, living with a corpse, none of that was as annoying as the smell, he said. But the smell was just so strong. I mean, it was overpowering. It wouldn't leave. Takahiro.
What if there's like an M. Night Shyamalan twist and there isn't any smell? Like, he has successfully cleaned everything and there is no smell. At least not as bad as it seems, and it's just all in his head as like a subconscious reminder of guilt in like his head. I for some reason that just like is crossing my mind. Like, this, what if that is just his brain forcing him to have some sense of guilt that never goes away, and it's just a smell that he keeps smelling, but it doesn't actually exist.
said the smell was actually the worst from the internal organs, that when you cut open the stomach, that's when the smell is the strongest, and it comes out immediately. And he stated each one of his victims smelled differently. He said he's never smelled anything like that in his entire life. With Allison, it took him 2 days to, quote, dismantle her body. He said he had to take a lot of breaks to just get away from the smell and then come back to it. He said it was such an overwhelming scent, but even that, it didn't compare to the fear of getting caught, so he kept going. He purchased a single-sided saw, 2 kitchen knives, a knife sharpener, a pair of scissors. He used the scissors to cut the skin, and he said, I didn't know this until I did it myself, but human skin is unexpectedly hard. It's thick, difficult to cut. At first, I tried to use a knife, but it didn't work. It was easier to use scissors. I looked up the dismantling method on the internet, and I did what I researched, and I did it in the bathtub.
So these are all from him telling this to who?
Mr. Ono, the author, and some of it he told the judge during his trial
Wow.
later.
Yeah, just like said it all, I guess. It seems like he might just be a psychopath right at this point. Which I think at the beginning we're trying to be like, okay, how did he become like this? Was it because of this game? Did it actually do brain damage to him to the point of causing him to become a psychopath?
It's like so detached, no remorse.
No. This is just the beginning. Just you wait. He said, I scraped the meat off the bones. I boiled the bones in a pot, and then I added some kimchi hot pot stock. I thought I would deodorize it, you know? Sometimes he cooked a Japanese curry into it to mask the smell some more, or other times it was a Chinese stew. He would later state that it was just to help mask the smell.
Are you saying he's doing cannibalism here? Or is it just for the smell?
But Takahiro's phone would show results for precautions when eating human flesh.
Okay, well, I mean, that says that. Like, why be shy about cannibalism when you've already are like so open about assault and murder?
Question mark?
Oh my goodness.
Like, eating long pig is your line? That's where you cross the line? Is cannibalism?
After boiling the bones to be able to strip them of the flesh, he added the bones to kitty litter and then played Tetris with them. He would buy these boxes. He talked in depth bones to
what?
kitty litter and then played Tetris with them.
Okay, so the Tetris part.
He would buy these boxes. He talked in depth about how he was focused on limiting the amount of boxes in his apartment building. So he wanted to Tetris the bones so it could be a smaller box for all of Allison's bones.
So he
Oh, I get it. He's not Tetrising the boxes. He's trying to fit the bones in the box in the most perfect way possible.
he's doing all of that for his first victim.
Yes,
He's like cooking and doing all of that
Yeah.
first time.
first time
Wow.
for $4,500.
Yeah, but I don't think 4,500 has anything to do with it.
No.
Yeah, it was just he just wanted to. The money doesn't matter.
Right? Like, come on.
No? Ad read? Is that what this is?
If
Been
I
a
asked
while
you to
since we had a ad read. It's also for liquid IV again, which again I don't trust anything that's these powdered drinks, especially if they have artificial sweeteners in them. No offense, it's Rotten Mango. I'm not saying anything about her. I'm just saying I don't. I mean, I've drank them before. We have them in the house. I would probably drink them again. Like there is a like Diet Dr Pepper in the refrigerator right now. But again, if you haven't heard me say before, I only drink water. I've only been drinking water for like a decade. I'll drink like maybe 5 days out of the year something else, and that's already pushing it. It might be even less than that. So like for literally 360 days out of a year, out of the 365, it's water all day, every day, only water. Which is also why I'm kind of like, okay, like I was saying, like coffee and stuff will cause you to become like desperate on it, and everyone's always tired, right? They can't function unless they have their coffee, and I'm like, I just been drinking water this whole time, and I'm kind of fine. If I wake up, I'm good. I feel like if you're just drinking these kinds of things constantly, especially since you're a teenager, because I feel like that's when it starts. You get obsessed with coffee as a teen, and then now you're addicted to it for the rest of your life. Your body needs it, needs the caffeine and whatnot. But that's like too far off topic. Again, the artificial sweetener stuff. As soon as I drink that, my body immediately can tell that it's taking damage from it, and I'm being serious when I say that. I don't feel good after consuming artificial sweeteners, so no thanks. Again, unless I'm like desperate and I want something sweet for like 1 out of the X amount of days that I'll drink something. But again, water all day, every day. Drink water. Drink water, everybody. Stop drinking soda. Get healthy.
Takahiro said, "You'd be surprised at how light the bones are once the meat and fat are removed." He stated they're very, very light. But since the meat and fat have nowhere to go, he would again grab some pee-pee pads, wrap them in newspaper, and then throw them away in the downstairs apartment building dumpster. And once he's through with Allison's 2-day dismemberment process, he just had one big question. I mean, is he going to keep the box of bones? Is he going to keep the severed head in his tiny little loft forever? He starts Googling how to dump bodies, but he realized that the highest risk of bodies being discovered, he's studying all these other killers. And it's usually when killers are on their way to dump the body that they get caught, or they're actively digging a hole with the shovel and the police show up. I mean, how is he going to talk his way out of why he needs a human-sized hole in the ground? But Takahiro's biggest fear was he's very nervous that a dog would come sniffing in the mountains and dig up the buried body that he worked so hard to bury. The best choice to get the body out of his apartment, he decided, was to rent a storage unit and keep the body there.
Like, why? Oh, storage unit for the body. Wouldn't it just smell? Question mark. And then you just get caught anyways. Usually it seems like people dig shallow graves, right, when they're doing this. Has anyone ever dug like a proper 6 foot deep grave as like a serial killer or a murderer, or even like deeper than that? Like, let's go 12. Has there ever been like deep graves have been buried? I mean, I guess if they never got caught, we would not know, and maybe that is what you need to do. But has someone actually been caught from graves that are actually properly buried or even further deepens before? Which kind of reminds me of this one anime. I forgot what it's called or even exactly what it's about. How does it even go? It's like about a father who commits a crime against some bad people, and he has to just keep trying to not, die, not lose his family, and whatnot. I forget what it's called. I think it was actually pretty okay, but it's been a while since I've seen it. But yeah, has anyone been caught from digging actually a deep grave and somehow it got sniffed out, like a dog just somehow digged 6 feet down, or a flood happened and washed a lot of the dirt away and then exposed the body somehow, like it somehow exposed 6 feet of dirt, landslide, etc., etc., yada yada.
But he never got around to it because there were things higher on his priority list, like Allison's best friend, Charlie. When
Charlie, a girl or a guy?
Takahiro asked Allison to finally meet up with him in person before he bought the loft, before Allison ever gave him any money. They were just Twitter friends. Allison was really hesitant. I mean, they're hitting it off. Yeah, they're bonding. He seems nice. He seems relatable. They seem to have shared life experiences. But at the end of...
How do you become friends on Twitter? I didn't even think about that. Like, they became friends through Twitter. That just seems weird. Like, no one's trying to become my friend through Twitter. So, I mean, not to be weird. I'm just saying, no one's become my friend, or no one's actually gone out of their way to speak to me in a friendly manner on Twitter or Instagram. Well, Instagram, kind of, but Twitter, not really.
End of the day, this is a complete stranger. So she brings her best friend Charlie, and he's there to make sure nothing's gonna happen to Allison. He's gonna get a good gauge on Takahiro as a person. Charlie was incredibly protective over Allison.
Okay, so this is a guy. Is he gonna kill him too?
Charlie too was struggling with a lot of dark emotions, and Allison to him was almost this symbol of hope. Even though she was experiencing it, Allison was always the giver. That's her love language. She would give gifts. She would give her time, her energy. If she didn't have the money, she would give money. She would give everything. She would give so much of herself to the point that she would have nothing left for her own individual. Same with love. She always gave out love, never saved any for herself, which is why Allison was struggling a lot with mental health. And it didn't help that she was bullied a lot growing up, and she just had all this lingering trauma and emotions and insecurities. And Charlie was there to make sure that Takahiro was not going to take advantage of Allison. So all three of them, they meet up at a park. They actually get along very well.
Okay, so this is before he killed her, but Charlie didn't come with her to his house as protection. I'm guessing maybe she didn't tell him because she was running away, right? Forever. Whatever that entailed. I don't know exactly what she was trying to do with that.
Charlie felt comfortable with Allison being friends with Takahiro. Takahiro was just, he seemed, I wouldn't say charismatic, but it's almost...
He looked like a goofball, and I feel like goofballs can worm their way into making people like them.
You know, when you meet someone and you have so many things in common with them, you're like, how did we not know each other before this? We're like twins. Like, how do we have the same life experiences to the dot? It's
I mean, he could be lying.
kind of crazy. I'm like looking into a mirror right now.
But that's not true though, right?
No,
Of course. He's just saying what needs to be said.
Takahiro would mirror every single one of his victims.
Oh, wow.
He would just relate to every single thing he said and fake stories that were the basic principles of what they are talking about, just in a different way. But now, Charlie's best friend, Allison, has not been picking up her phone and Charlie's been worried sick. Allison's mom is blowing up his phone and he gets a text message from Takahiro and then another text message. And
I wonder if... Okay, what is he messaging? Is he, like, saying, like, hey, where's Allison? Because that would be, like, I guess, decent, like, cover-up. Like, hey, man, where's Allison? I haven't seen her in forever. And he's saying that to Charlie to, like, get any shade thrown off of him. Any suspicion thrown off of him.
And he gets a text message from Takahiro and then another text message. And Takahiro is randomly just, like, convincing him that things are never going to get better, especially because Allison is missing. And Charlie is getting it.
Okay, no, he's just egging on Charlie for some reason.
Influence. He started having negative...
Oh, he's under the influence?
Because Allison is missing. And Charlie is getting influence.
Getting influence?
He started having negative thoughts again. And
I think she's just being... Like, he's being influenced by Takahiro, whatever
he had
his name
always
is.
struggled with them before, but it was only getting worse now. And Takahiro texted him, do you want to hang out? Meet me at the train station.
You gonna push this boy into the train?
Throw your phone in the ocean first. Just like Allison, Charlie wanted to find comfort in Takahiro, but he also wanted a backup plan. So he tweeted, this was his very last tweet. For a brief moment in this shitty life, I experienced something happy. Then he threw his phone in a train station locker before heading out to meet Takahiro at his loft apartment. And just like Allison, his phone would be found in the train station, just not by Charlie.
Okay, is it the police or is it actually Takahiro? Because it's not like anyone's told him that her phone was at the restroom of some place, and it's not like this guy's gonna tell him, hey, I left my phone at the train station.
The speakers in Takahiro's apartment were playing a new Nirvana song.
A new Nirvana? This was the 90s? Is that what you're just saying? A new Nirvana song? Cause I'm gonna assume that we're talking about the 90s. That if you don't know about Nirvana and rock, they're like a grunge band from like back in the day. One of the most popular ones, probably the most popular grunge bands of all time. But yeah, let me check something. Yeah, if you don't know anything about Nirvana, their lead singer was Kurt Cobain, which is why I was being so weird about the fact that this must be the 90s, or maybe even the late 80s. It's late 80s, early 90s is where this time period is taking place, because Kurt Cobain self-exited in 1994, and the band immediately disbanded after that. So that means if a new Nirvana song came out, that implies this was between, I think when I looked it up right now, it was 87 is when they started, somewhere around there. Between 87 and 94. So we actually have a timeline for that now, just because I know about Nirvana. I don't know if anyone else would have that kind of information, but thankfully, I listen to rock. You're welcome.
But Takahiro was barely listening to the lyrics. It goes, I am my own worst parasite. But Takahiro is busy. His arms are straining as he's trying to drag this heavy lump across the floor, a lot heavier than anything that he's ever moved across this apartment before. Takahiro grabs the rope from underneath his kitchen cabinet.
Get back.
He's straining as he's trying to drag. Takahiro was barely listening to the lyrics.
Okay.
It goes, I am my own worst parasite.
I don't know if I know this one. It's just I would have to actually hear it rather than just saying it. But I don't know what was he doing. I didn't catch what he was doing.
But Takahiro is busy. His arms are straining as he's trying to drag this heavy lump across the floor.
Heavy lump.
A lot heavier than anything that he's ever moved across this apartment before. Takahiro grabs the rope from underneath his kitchen cabinet, makes a loop with one end of the rope, goes back to the body, and he's thinking, a woman is a lot easier to move than a man. And his muscles are telling him, like, don't do it, it's so painful. Takahiro.
How has he already succeeded in killing or knocking this guy out? Especially with how small he seems to be.
Takahiro grabs the other end of the rope and climbs up the ladder. and he's now standing over the railing of his loft, pulling as hard as he can, playing tug of war. He's trying to lift Charlie up into a standing position. His arms feel like they're about to pop off, and it doesn't help once he feels Charlie starting to struggle on the other end of the rope. He's awake. Once Charlie is at least standing, he hooks the rope to the railing, and Takahiro climbs back down the ladder and is staring excitedly. Charlie has duct tape over his mouth and nose, and he's flinging his body around, and he's floating in the apartment trying to break free.
Again, how did we get to this point to begin with? You can't just skip over how he accomplished taking this guy out.
Arms are tied together, and even though this wasn't his typical choice, Takahiro was enjoying it. It would take a full 30 minutes for him to become cold to the touch. Once he is, Takahiro checks Charlie's pockets, pulling out the little cash that he had, and pockets it.
How did he kill him, though? How did he get him knocked out?
He also checks to see that Charlie has no phone. Good. Perfect. It's probably in the ocean. Now there's going to be no way for anyone to connect Takahiro to him or Takahiro to Allison. After all of this, Takahiro was starving. So with Charlie now in the bathroom waiting for the dismantling ritual, if you will, Takahiro sat down with a bowl of spaghetti and steamed chicken from the convenience store. And eventually, he would pass out sleeping like a baby. Honestly, he was quite proud of himself. People would assume that Allison either joined a brothel, or if they knew both Allison and Charlie and they're both missing, they might even start suspecting
They eloped?
that Charlie did something to Allison.
Oh, I was going to expect that they are saying they eloped together or ran away together. But if you want to be like pure negative, that's something you could think of too.
It was genius.
Unless people knew that Charlie went to go see him. I mean, we're painting it as like this guy thinks he just has like a million IQ. He's so proud of himself.
A week and a half later, Takahiro is bent over another body in his bathtub. Not Charlie, but a woman named Diane. When he hears a knock on the door, he freezes. He quickly backs up from the bathtub, inches closer to the door. He holds his breath as he...
I wasn't even thinking about the placement. This is like actually even worse that his bathroom is right next to the door. I forgot we've seen how the room is made, but for some reason I was like thinking the place was like bigger than it was supposed to be. So let's I don't know, just show you what I was kind of like seeing. So if we have like this here, I was thinking the bathroom was like over here, and then like maybe the front door was here. I guess we could have this section here as like some random thing, because I don't know what would be here. And we can just finish that in and then pull that up. But yeah, for some reason I thought the restroom was over here, but it's actually this box here, and there is nothing. There's nothing here. This is just a wall. But in my mind, I kept imagining him being over here for some reason. I don't know why. But the restroom is like right here. So that's even more dangerous, because the front door, you can smell that easily. If someone walks in and then this door's open, like you're being caught. So he had to come out of here and make sure that no one sees into the restroom, which is, I don't know. I mean, it's probably, he's going to get away with it, but still.
He looks at the people. Oh, thank God. It's just Katie.
Who the heck is Katie? He already has Diane in the bathtub, but like now Katie's over?
Katie is a woman that he's been seeing for the past week. I mean, I guess you could say that they're dating very casually. Katie had slept over the past 4 nights at Takahiro's house, and they were briefly intimate. It was a little awkward because Takahiro could not make it to the finish line and was not really enjoying it.
Yeah, he said he doesn't enjoy regular.
So they just both enjoyed each other's company instead of that, and she thought it was going well. But out of nowhere, Takahiro is pushing Katie out the door, talking about how he needs to help some girl named Diane from Twitter because she's struggling with negative thoughts. Which, I mean, Katie's like, I guess it's fine.
Okay, so this is before that. So they were hanging out, Katie was at his place. They were hanging out for 4 days. Then he gets a message from Diane or something. He's like, okay, you gotta go. I gotta help this girl. Is he writing himself off as like some sort of self-help guru? Or is it self-help guru? Is that what you would call it? And thus, Yeah, that's his job. So maybe she thinks that's his job, or people think that's his job. So when he says stuff like that, they're not suspicious. Because wouldn't you be suspicious if someone you think is your boyfriend is like, hey, I got to see this random girl at my place that you don't know, and you got to leave.
I'm gonna go home, check on my mom anyway. And I mean, I guess it's nice that he's a considerate person, right? Trying to help out his friends.
Also, we have inner monologue for Katie. But does Katie die? I think we're just getting like what if assumptions on their inner monologues. 'Cause obviously, we don't know what their monologues were because they're dead. They can't tell us what they were.
He calls her later and is like, you can come back over. And now she's stepping in through his apartment door to his loft. And it's so interesting how our bodies get used to things. The way our eyes get used to the dark.
Are we talking about the smell? Was her eyes used to the smell? And now she's coming back and is like, oh, wait. I got used to it and I wasn't smelling it anymore, but now I'm coming back and I smell it. I've mentioned this before with smell. Like if you are wallowing in filth, it will just eventually go away. But I guess if, like, obviously if you leave to somewhere else and then come back, you're going to have to have your olfactories reset to that stench. I'm assuming that's what's about to be said.
And the way our noses block out scents that were always lingering. Well, when Katie walks back in, she's hit with the smell. She's like, has it always smelled this pungent in here? Like, what is this smell? Takahiro apologizes for keeping her waiting, hurries her inside. She steps in, takes off her shoes, follows him in. Sorry, just let me quickly freshen up. No.
I feel like how could you just be like, if it's such a bad smell, like wouldn't you be like, it smells too bad in here, bye. Like, I'm not putting up with this, but I feel like, I guess if you like someone enough, you will just put up with it, right?
Don't go to the bathroom. You cannot go into the bathroom. Takahiro looks like he's ready to jump in front of the bathroom door to fight her if she tries to open the door, and it's so strange. She's looking at him like, hello, what are you talking about? And he closes his eyes. I might have helped the person from Twitter self-exit, and I started dismembering their body afterwards.
Just told her that? What? That's the way she's going to become an accomplice. You're going to kill her.
You what?
What?
Katie was terrified. What are you talking about? Dismantling a body? Is that what you said? I don't get it. She knew that he liked helping people and that he had a community on Twitter that he was very fond of, but she never thought it would be like this. After nearly 5 days with Takahiro, Katie decides to go home, and she cheerfully tells him, I'll send you some money when I get home, okay? He says okay, closes the door, and she practically sprints to the train station.
Also, huh? She said, assuming this is after, she stayed there for 5 days with that corpse in the bathroom? And why wouldn't she try to leave as fast as possible? She's like, I'm just going to stay here for 5 days, hope that he doesn't kill me, and as soon as I leave, I'm just going to book it.
When she gets home, she does not send him the money, but she also does not report him to the police.
I guess she's just scared of being killed too, maybe.
Before Diane, there was Allison and Charlie, but also Bella.
Huh? Why don't we hear about her first?
In the span of a single month, Takahiro had now 4 severed heads covered in kitty litter, sitting in cardboard boxes in his 150 square foot apartment in a month. And with the exception of Charlie, Takahiro hunted his victims. He knew exactly what he was looking for. He would later say they need to at least be high school or older. If they're at least of high school age, the police don't take it seriously.
I'm guessing, yeah. I was like, what are you talking about? I guess if it's children, they're going to be, I guess, hounding way harder, I guess.
More often than not, missing high school girls end up at a friend's house or at a brothel, which honestly should be alarming enough for the authorities to want to do something about it, but I digress. But Takahiro was certain the police are not going to look hard for them, and they need to be vulnerable. Mentally vulnerable was the best for Takahiro. There was Allison, who struggled with being bullied as a kid, who gave Takahiro the money for his loft apartment. Charlie, Allison's best friend, who struggled with feeling positive, and even more so when his best friend vanished one day. Then Bella, a 15-year-old girl that Takahiro met on Twitter. She was a freshman in high school that was putting a lot of pressure on herself to get
I mean, still really young, still a kid.
good grades.
You would assume they would want to hunt them down, but I guess if you're just a teenager, then the police are like, oh, they're just out. They're just at someone's house or at a brothel. What do you mean? Do you just have brothels lying around in Japan? What?
Takahiro reached out to her, and after bonding with her, mirroring her, making her feel safe, he graciously offered her, hey, if you ever need a place to stay to get away from all this pressure in school, you're welcome to stay at my loft apartment for a while.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Then Diane, a 19-year-old college student who was supposed to have her coming-of-age ceremony soon. So every year, on the second Monday of January, everyone who becomes an adult last year in Japan, they participate in this huge nationwide ceremony. It's a public holiday to celebrate adulthood. Often people will go out for their very first drinks on that day. A lot of the young girls will wear kimonos. It's a huge deal.
As much anime as I've watched, and like culture that I know about from Japan, never heard of this like almost like quinceanera situation, but for Japanese people.
The kimonos are rented months in advance. It's a big day. I mean, it's a big day that every person looks forward to. Diane was going to go to that ceremony, but instead, Takahiro lured her out to his apartment. Ella was a 26-year-old mother and the only one of the victims to be married. Ella became a mom when she was 19, and she thought it would get easier, and it never did. Ella already struggled a lot mentally, and her daughter had a developmental disability. Ella had postpartum, and with all these new responsibilities and not feeling like a great mom, her self-esteem is getting lower. She feels like a disappointment. Her and her husband are constantly arguing about finances. They have a lot of love for each other, and they're trying to make it work. It's just so hard. Ella was on Twitter looking for someone that she could relate to. She would be lured to Takahiro's apartment. Fiona was a 17-year-old junior in high school. She took a 24-hour train just to meet up with Takahiro. She met him on Twitter, and she was so excited to have someone to talk to. She paid for Takahiro's meals that day, paid for all the cab rides, all their activities. Fiona would sheepishly talk to him about all of her problems, like how she felt so insecure about her appearance. And he would bluntly reassure her, "We are not ugly by any means." Meeting with Takahiro was actually making Fiona feel so much better. Near the end of their date, she was going on about how, maybe we can go to an arcade and get some dessert. I think I feel really good. She would end up in his bathtub. Gia was a 17-year-old student that struggled with feeling good about herself. Her classmates thought she was one of the most considerate ones in their entire grade. Like if there was a task that no other kid wanted to do, Gia would do it for everyone. She was lured to Takahiro's apartment. Takahiro would later be seen carrying a bag of her organs to a convenience store dumpster. Helen was a 25-year-old who had severe social anxiety, and for a while she didn't even leave her room most days, but she was getting better. She got a part-time job at a convenience store, and all of her family said she just seems so much more enthusiastic about life. She was lured to Takahiro's apartment. This is all within the span of 2 months. Takahiro was very quickly evolving and creating a method. The process was almost the same. And just to give you context of how quickly he was evolving, the dismantling process, that's what he
Well, she said it took him around 2 hours at the beginning. I'm guessing it's gonna be way less than that now.
called it. The first time, it took 2 full days.
Not 2 hours, 2 days is what I meant.
He said he got it down to 2 hours.
Oh, well, apparently got it to 2 hours eventually, though.
That is chilling.
The process was almost always the same. He would meet people on Twitter, then try to arrange an in-person meeting where he would state,
I still don't understand how you meet people on Twitter. Like, it does not seem like that's the kind of place you meet people. You talk to people or say stuff on Twitter. I guess I don't use Twitter to, write messages out into the void. It's just, I post art there. I post my 3D models. Same thing with Instagram. I post art/3D models there, and that's it. It's almost like a business profile. I don't have a Twitter/Instagram where I just talk about my thoughts or try to reach out to people. So I guess it's just weird to hear that people are actually becoming friends and talking and meeting up because of Twitter. When they couldn't be further from the case for my accounts. I'm not opposed to someone reaching out on Twitter or whatever, but it's not something that happens there. That's strictly just art and modeling. 3D modeling.
He was going to help them self-exit. He would meet with them at the train station. They would never approach him. Once they spotted him, they were to call him, and over the phone, he was going to give them instructions on how to follow him home. Okay, now 10 steps to the left. He gave them directions on how to follow him out the station. So if anybody looked at them, it looks like these two strangers are just on the phone with different people and headed in the same direction coincidentally. They'll continue this until they make it back to his loft unit, where everything is prepped and ready. Rope, saws, air freshener, cat litter, pee-pee pads, everything is set up for the perfect night. It's almost like a ritual of sorts. Usually the minute that they step into his apartment, he's already so excited that he can hardly contain himself. But he's like, no, I can't rush this process. So he offers a seat to all of his victims and he talks to them. Sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 30 minutes. He doesn't even listen to a single thing that they're saying. He just keeps topping off their whiskey glass that's mixed with whiskey and crushed up sleeping pills and tranquilizers. And
Yeah, I was assuming he has to be doing something. Like, how are you getting these people out? And there it is. I was assuming like he had roofies for somehow, but it's just alcohol and tranquilizers, which I don't know how you got tranquilizers, but
he just waits. He sips on his tranquilizer-less whiskey, and this is the worst part for him. This is the part where he has to pretend like he cares. He has to sit there and act like he's interested in their lives, and he goes through the same problems. He doesn't even remember a single one of their names, just their Twitter handles. He doesn't even know half their ages. He forgot. He's sure they mentioned it. You feel like nobody understands you and you're all alone. Same. Me too. Anxiety does suck, doesn't it? I have so much anxiety as well. Yep. Yeah, I agree. I feel like there's a lack of love and compassion in this world. Everyone's just out for themselves. Yeah. No, it's rough. Most of the victims would pass out from the drugs that he slipped into their drinks. And then his sick ceremony would commence. Sometimes he would fall asleep with them and then wake up to see them still knocked out because he drugged them. He would either essay them right then and there, or he would tie them up first and then essay them. He would tie them up in a way that if they woke up during the attack, he could easily pull on one end and they would be forced into a standing, then eventually a floating position in the middle of his apartment. Sometimes he would have them half suspended while he essayed them. Most times he was there for the performance watching. He really liked watching them convulse while they were floating and swaying from side to side. That's what he was there for. But with each victim, he did start adding some small changes. With Gia, he cut open her blouse with scissors, and during the 30-minute ceremony, quote ceremony, he stared at her chest for a, quote, considerable amount of time while she was swaying in the middle of his apartment. But these ceremonies, they would be over so quick, and at this point, he was doing one a week. He was killing someone once a week, and it wasn't enough.
yeah, I don't know how you're getting away with like killing one person every week. Like, how? Also, we're not talking about South Korea. We're talking about Japan, which I don't know how better or worse their investigations as police are, but we know how bad South Korea is. Again, the rot still persists to this day from the old times. But I keep saying, I probably should stop saying that. So we don't really have too much info on how Japan handle things, but like really, like someone a week? And nobody can find out with him making so many mistakes. Well, not necessarily mistakes. He's just like not just doing things in such a lazy way, just carrying organs in a bag, throwing it in the trash can.
The other days when he was looking for a victim, he said that he was very busy watching violent essay illegal videos that he would find on the internet.
Somehow just getting snuff.
Because after his first murder, Takahiro said he was obsessed with essay and resistance. He was addicted and he wanted to experience it over and over again. So he would go back to Twitter and scout for the perfect victim. And this time he was going to try something different. As his latest victim was suspended, he noticed his attraction was developing. So he started taking pictures of her private parts as she was still floating in his apartment. And when she was cold to the touch, when he confirmed that she was dead, he laid her down and engaged in necrophilia. Naru's phone rang. Hi, Naru, is this Naru? Have you seen your sister Ivy? Naru's stomach dropped. This was a call from the psychiatric group home where his sister was staying at. He left work as soon as he could. I mean, just a few days ago, it looked like his sister Ivy was doing well. The group home was an improvement for her. So what do you mean, have I seen my sister? She's supposed to be at the group home. She's working through the grief of their mother that passed away 4 months ago. She was finally making some progress. Naru rushes over to the group home and he's confused. I mean, they're supposed to be monitoring her heavily and making sure that she's communicating when she's not mentally stable. So
I guess, were they paying attention? Do they know where she's at? Do they follow her? Or have any sort of information on where she went?
what do you
I mean, basically what I'm asking, do they know that she went to his house?
mean you're calling to say that she's missing? He hoped that it was just some big misunderstanding and maybe they checked the wrong room. He made it to the psychiatric center and Ivy would be sitting in her room eating a croquette. That's what he's thinking. She was not. The room was empty, the bed was made, and her desk was perfectly in order. Everything was in its place except for one singular note left next to her computer that was still plugged in. I'm sorry, everyone. My brother, I'm sorry. Thank you for everything. Naru's hand shook as he held onto the note and he used his other hand to call the police. My sister is missing. Please, it's urgent. She's probably going to hurt herself. But this isn't the police's top priority. They've gotten 8 calls like this in the past 2 months, just like this one. They even mentioned in Naru. Girls run away all the time.
Okay, what's this blasé attitude for what's going on? I mean, don't you think 8? This is number 9. Like 9 cases that are similar, just missing girls. Well, 8 because we're not counting Charlie, but like 9 if we're counting Charlie as just like adolescent. Well, I don't know if he's even an adolescent. Just person missing. You have 9 people now that are missing, and you don't see any connections.
She'll be back. Naru didn't even know who else to talk to. They're not close with the rest of their family. Both of their parents are gone. It's just the 2 of them most days, Naru and Ivy. Ivy doesn't have a boyfriend. She just
Also, I feel like, hey, my sister who was at a mental, I don't know what she was referring to it as, like she's a mental health help center who had been staying there has left and left a note that is clearly Seidel. And I don't know where she is. We need to go find her. And I'm like, she'll be back. Like, really? That seems like so blasé. It doesn't. It just feels like that's like we're talking about like South Korea now and how they handle stuff, or how we've heard them handle things.
doesn't have friends that she would go see. Most of the time, Ivy never left the house. The inside of their home was her entire world before she moved into this group home. All he had was her Twitter password.
Which he can now see that she's talking to Hiro.
Naru knew that she kept the same password for every single thing, which used to stress him out. Please, can you be more careful, Ivy? You're gonna get hacked. But now he's kind of grateful that she was predictable. Twitter.com, username I love croquettes. He enters in the password, and he was in. The very last post Ivy made was, I want to leave, but I'm afraid to do it alone. If anyone else wants to leave with me, please DM me. I'm a 23-year-old from Tokyo. It'd be ideal if you had a car. In Japan, it's pretty common for one person to have multiple Twitter accounts depending on the topic. There is one for a real account, and there's words for these. There's another one for a private account, so I guess the equivalent would be like a Finsta. There's another account that you just follow your idols or anime. It's like a fan account. And then you have a Yamiaka, which is for deep, dark, and negative thoughts.
No knowledge of any of that. Again, I have a singular Twitter, and it is just for art and 3D models. If you don't know what I mean by 3D models, I mean stuff like this, like this. Like that's what I mean by 3D modeling and VTuber stuff. So yeah, it's just for making VTubers, the 3D models that I make that aren't VTubers, and 2D art that I was making years ago. Literally, that's all it's for. So here, like people just like normal to have like 50 million accounts. It's like that's crazy.
Most people will post on there so that they can feel a sense of purpose. They can find a community that they can relate to and express how they truly feel without feeling ashamed about it. Users of Yamiaka, at the core of it, they just want someone to talk to. And they were going missing. 9 young adults, all between the ages of 15 to 29, have been reported missing in the Zama, Japan area in the past 2 months. All 9 individuals would have a Yamiaka Twitter account, and all 9 of them would have been in contact with 2 specific Twitter accounts, Suspension Pro and Shinitai, which translates to want to die. Naru's hand was gripping the mouse so hard his knuckles are white. He reads his sister's last post. I want to leave, but I'm afraid to do it alone. Naru knew that Ivy was having these thoughts, but he didn't know she was using this account to talk about them. He doesn't want to believe it. I mean, they had plans to get drinks together next month when she got out. They were planning to go all out for Christmas this year. That was something that they were looking forward to. He promised to make her the fried shrimp that she was craving. What? Naru made a post on her account. This is the brother of the person who made this account. The last time I was in contact with my sister was October 23rd. We talk every single day without fail, but she has stopped responding. Just a week ago, she was looking for people to leave with through this account. I didn't know this until now. Can anybody help me? He waited for any responses, but in the meantime, he kept investigating. In Ivy's previous threads, he saw a user, Shinitai, replying to Ivy, his little sister, saying that they could leave together. There were some private DMs where Shinitai wrote, suspension is the best option since there is a smaller likelihood of failure. Naru keeps digging and he finds more. Another account that replied to her, Suspension Pro. It looked like he discovered a secret life of his sister's. Like, why would she not talk to him about these feelings? Ivy had always been one that didn't want to burden her family, but Naru thought that they were on the same page. And who are these people that are reaching out to her? Ivy sent a message to Shinitai. I'm excited. I mean, it's not that I want to leave, but I just want someone to listen to my story, to support me. Maybe I just want a friend. Naru was putting the pieces together.
I mean, I'm assuming the brother's like upset about that. Like he's hoping that he could be the one to be there for her.
His baby sister
Obviously.
and this random guy on the internet were making a pact to leave together. He quickly messages them, privately begging them, if you see this message, do not do it. This is Ivy's brother. Please stop everything. Pause. Naru keeps refreshing the messages until a blue checkmark pops up under it, signifying Shinitai had read his message. He's anxiously waiting for a response, but instead, the blue checkmark turns gray, which can only mean one thing.
I don't know what that means. He blocked?
The user read his message, then went to his settings and turned off read receipts.
Oh.
Why would he do that?
Yeah, and the brother saw all of that.
Yes.
And that was the signal that he needed to investigate this guy.
Yes. Because this guy is very much alive, but he cannot get in contact with his sister. Another tweet popped up on a girl, Yumi's phone. She was not familiar with the I Love Crickets user, but a friend of hers was tagged in it. Can anyone help me find my sister? I think she was last seen with this Twitter user, @Shinitai. Yumi stared at her phone. That's the guy. Or at least she thinks that's the guy that Yumi has been messaging, the guy that she went to dinner with. But
Oh, okay. Now we're getting messy now. I'm guessing this is how it all falls apart. He's just doing too much, and too much is overlapping.
she knew him as Suspension Pro. Two different usernames, but reading the tweet, Yumi was certain that they're the same person. I mean, just thinking about that dinner was giving her the chills. Yumi went to this dinner with this guy thinking that they're meeting up to talk about leaving together because, well, she wanted to leave and he was going to help her do it. The whole point was you almost want someone to guide you to the other side and be there for you in your last moments. And as strange or as twisted as it sounds, Yumi just wanted someone to relate to. And maybe since he claimed that he had helped so many people leave and she felt
He just outright said that he has helped people leave, and like no one's like, oh, gotta do something about that. Let's roll back for a second. I don't remember what her name was. I think her alias was started with an N, right? The girl who just hung at his house for like 5 days and knew that he killed somebody. And still, I'm guessing she's still alive and didn't do anything. She still hasn't told the cops. I haven't forgotten about that. Like, that's still a thing. I'm assuming she didn't die. Is she ever going to come back up in the case? Like, do they find her and talk to her about it?
felt like she could trust him. Maybe he could just understand what she was going through to begin with. But that dinner was weird. He didn't seem like he cared in any sense. He was just so excited about the fact of suspending someone. That's it. Not only that, after the dinner, Yumi discovered something really bizarre. There was another account trying to talk to Yumi, Shinitai, who was encouraging her to go see Suspension Pro for her, quote, needs. Suspension Pro wanted to help her successfully complete the action, whereas Shinitai said on their Twitter account that they were looking to leave with other people. But reading their messages, their cadence and everything, Yumi felt like they're the same person. Like she was certain they're the same person. Yumi immediately messages Naru, Ivy's brother. I've met with the same man that your sister was talking to. Yumi and Naru get into touch, and Yumi was determined to do whatever she can to help him and his sister, and she told him the guy had really weird instructions he would give, like leave a note for your family, tell them not to come find you, throw your phone in the ocean, meet me at the train station, don't say hi, follow me at a distance.
Yeah, like it's just completely weird the entire time. The throw your phone in the ocean is crazy. I mean, Japan is surrounded by ocean on all sides, but like, where are y'all exactly that you're that close to the ocean that you can just be like, okay, let me just throw it in? Granted, Japan is so small, you could just take the train, right? Take the train to like every city in Japan in like a day, probably, right? Especially with bullet trains. You just go from one side to the other instantly.
I didn't want to do any of that. It was just, everything was so weird. He was really creepy. He also kept asking me how much money I make and how much money I had saved up, and he kept bragging about how he's helped so many other people. She was super weirded out by the conversation. During dinner, she told Naru that she just paid for the meal and got out of there.
I mean, she did that. That was good. I just want to do a size comparison of like Japan to Texas. It's actually, Japan's actually bigger than I thought, but I think you can still fit all of Japan inside of Texas. That's how small it is technically. So you can get like from probably here to here relatively quickly with bullet trains. Obviously, you can't get to these spots because they're over water, unless they have like trains that go across the water there. That'd be interesting. That they probably do, right? Just to make sure you can go over the entire thing instantly. But yeah, like I'm pretty sure if you dragged this in there and made it all perfect, Japan would still be smaller than all of the sides of Texas. Also, this is very crude. This is just off of like Google search images. There's a better one that looks nicer, but this one just is easier to look at. I think just the blue on the red. But yep, Japan is small. So I mean, saying you're as big as Texas means you're pretty big, but Texas is just a state, a single state in the United States. So to not even be bigger than one of these states is, I mean, the second largest state, I think. I think Alaska is the biggest state, but do we really want to count Alaska?
Made an excuse.
No offense to Alaska, but do we really want to count Alaska? It's kind of cheating.
During dinner, she told Naru that she just paid for the meal and got out of there. Made an excuse and left. But he kept messaging her. Please, let's meet up again. And Yumi would. Halloween night.
Halloween?
5 police officers were cramped in a small hallway in front of Unit 205. They're silently shuffling their way into the atrociously smelling hall, and they're glancing at each other, and they're like,
Okay, so the smell is permeating throughout the building. It's not just in it. We're not going to get any M. Night Shyamalan twists where the smell was in his head the entire time. Or like a Telltale Heart situation. The Edgar Allan Poe story. Like that.
they're like giving each other the go-ahead hand signals. They're knocking. They hear footsteps on the other side of the door. The handle is turning. The door slowly opens, the smell is intensifying, and in front of them is 27-year-old Takahiro. His hair is parted, it's slicked back. He's wearing a simple gray crew neck and black eyeglasses. He looks like one of the countless college students that you would just walk by on the streets of Tokyo. He looks nothing special. He doesn't even seem surprised that there's a whole police station standing outside his door. Do you know where Ivy is? Police knew immediately that Takahiro knew exactly what they were asking him. His demeanor immediately shifted. He started looking nervous, clamming up. He went through a whole roller coaster of emotions.
It's weird for him to see them and not have any sort of emotion. He's just like, oh yeah, it's just the police. But then as soon as they ask, he then gets scared. That's weird.
And then he went to calm, expressionless, completely blank.
Okay, back to normal.
And he opens the door wider, sticks his finger out, and points at one of the 9 large boxes stacked on top of each other. She's in there. Ivy was Takahiro's last victim. He pauses for a second and he tells the authorities, I murdered 9 people. He literally didn't skip a beat, and neither did the officers. 5 police officers rush into the cramped space, grab Takahiro, putting him into handcuffs. They force his hands onto the wall to keep him subdued while they call for backup. Eventually, 20 to 30 forensic and backup policemen come into this 150 square foot apartment, and they would find what some netizens now call the House of Bones.
Oh, this is another ad read? I'm guessing. After the House of Bones drop.
It just always feels very overwhelming.
Yeah, we're getting another ad read here. It's weird to see him covering his face like that, but I don't think he's like upset or anything. He's just making sure that they don't get a picture of his face. He's just covering it up. And she's talking about something that has to do with like health or working out or something, I think. But again, like, just scroll down the channel. We have like hundreds of Ring Fit Adventure videos, which again is a exercise game. It's not just a video game, it is a video game where you exercise, like an RPG, if you don't know what an RPG is. It's a role-playing game. But it's just a turn-based RPG where you go through levels, you run through the levels, so you have to like physically run through them. When you get into a fight with something, you take turns, like you attack them, they attack you. But like when you attack them, you're doing exercises to attack the monsters. And there's like a silly story that's going along the entire time. But yeah, if you didn't know what Ring Fit Adventure is, that is what that is that I'm posting every day. And I've gone to like I've done the playthrough of the story like 3 times in a row because it's like it keeps letting you do it again and again with slightly different story, and it gets harder. But I think the current playthrough that I'm on is the final one. There's nothing after that. There's no like another increased difficulty setting after that. Yeah, I probably have like what, almost 2 years, if not more, episodes than that. I don't know if I have them all in the same playlist. If I do, let me check. I have like 640 or so videos, something like that. So not quite a year. We're pretty close. By the time probably by November or so, we would have like 2 years worth of Ring Fit Adventure videos, because I have been doing it daily every day for almost 2 years, and that should be around November, I think. So I think I started in November recording these videos.
My Roman Empire is thinking about
videos.
My Roman Empire is thinking about all the subscription services.
Wait, are you hitting me with a triple? Okay, this is a triple ad read, I think. We're talking about Rocket Money, whatever that is. I don't know what Rocket Money. Oh, I think it's the thing that looks at all the accounts that you have and shows you like, hey, you're actually spending money on something you don't know about. You need to cancel it. It's one of those, but I know what all I have, so not a problem. I feel that's a problem for people who have a lot of money, like so much money that you aren't noticing small changes to your stockpile, I think. But if you barely have anything, you'll notice that you have lost money. So not something I need at all. Yeah, Ring Fit's cool. Unfortunately, I mean, if you want to play Ring Fit yourself, you need to get a Switch, or I don't know if you can use it on Switch too. I assume you can. You'd need the regular Joy-Cons though. But yeah, Switch 2, and then the Ring-Con game itself. That's a lot of money. So obviously, if you don't have that money, just exercise normally. Like normal people. Go to the gym though. I mean, going to the gym costs money, right? I've never been to a gym, but I'm guessing it's an arm and a leg, so you can just exercise at home, right? Just walk around the block a few times, do some squats, some curls, some sit-ups, push-ups, etc. Or you might not even need to do that. Just just drink water every day. Drink water. Don't eat too many junk food, too much sweet stuff. I actually, for like half a year now, have been eating broccoli, like a whole bag of broccoli for breakfast, and it's being pretty okay. I mean, just only drinking water that cuts out a lot of sugar that you would normally be eating, and then a bag of broccoli is like 120 calories. Yeah, like I think somewhere around there, 100 something calories, despite being like an entire plate worth of broccoli. Uh, and that should like decrease your weight by a lot, assuming you have weight to lose.
Aside from the bones and the severed heads that we mentioned, they found debit cards, IDs, women's purses, cell phones scattered throughout the room. They recovered 2 kitchen knife scissors, a saw binding rope, and a gimlet, which is like an electric drill that you use to nail holes into the wall, and a blender. Every single one of those items were covered in blood, and they tested positive for blood. In the corner of the main room, against the walls, were all of the boxes and coolers stacked up. All of them contained severed heads, legs, arms, bones. It was like a mini cemetery. They found 9 severed heads and 240 bones. And then they found another box. There's another one. Investigators walk over to that box, open it up, and inside is completely empty. Takahiro purchased it for his 10th victim. They apprehended him before he could fill another box with bones. If it weren't for Yumi, that 10th box would have probably been filled. After reaching out to Naru, Yumi agreed to help the police catch Takahiro.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how he just got away, kept getting away with it. Like, how did they not know something was going on? Like, there's some sort of serial killer.
She reached back out to Takahiro saying she was ready. They organized to meet up at a local train station. Yumi went, but thankfully she wasn't alone. There were a lot of undercover police officers at that station. They were staking it out. They spot Takahiro walking in, and whether Takahiro could feel it or not is unclear, but he texted Yumi, "I can't come actually." But it was too late. Officers already saw him. They start tailing him back to his apartment to the second floor, Unit 205. He led them straight to his lofted apartment.
I mean, maybe that's why he seemed fine when he first saw them, because he already knew they were coming. He already knew that something was wrong.
But unfortunately, I don't know if it was the trauma of the incident or of knowing what Takahiro did or how she had trusted him to a degree.
Brother?
Or just maybe just seeing the dark side of humanity.
Brother?
Yumi would end up leaving soon after.
Okay, no, it was her. I was expecting the brother because the brother literally lost his sister. But it's like I guess she was already in like a bad place, right? And then
She helped take Takahiro down. Mr. Ono, the author, sat down in front
I think argued that she's like the 10th victim at that point.
helped take Takahiro down. Mr. Ono, the author, sat down in front of Takahiro, and they were in the visiting room of the prison.
I don't know why is this author here? Like, why is an author interviewing or interrogating Takahiro?
Takahiro was wearing his prison-issued uniform, peppermint green, short.
I don't think I've ever seen prison clothes. I think when I've seen prison stuff for Japan, they're just mocking the black and white stripes. I've literally never seen these green outfits with the hats. I feel like a hat is dangerous. That's a weapon. It might not sound like it, but I feel like that's a weapon. Because that brim, that's solid, unless it's not. But still.
Sleeve top with short pants, and they kind of look like scrubs. They're actually pretty comfortable. That's what he tells Mr. Ono. Takahiro is sitting in prison waiting to be tried for the murder of 9 people. He was nicknamed the Japanese Twitter killer, and his case is making the rounds on international news cycles. This was Mr. Ono's second visit to Takahiro.
Again, why is he here though?
Mr. Ono, after your last visit, I suddenly thought of you. So I drew a portrait of you. He slides over a piece of paper with a drawing. It's extremely detailed. Some people don't really notice the small features in someone else's face, but Takahiro did.
So he's actually good at this.
It was very unsettling. So Takahiro, what have you been up to this week in prison? Well, first of all, I drew that portrait of you. Then I played some shogi, Japanese chess. I did some strength training, and other than that, I ate some snacks. There's a snack called ready-made tamago. It's soft
Ready-made tamago. I mean, tamago is egg. I mean, she's already saying the word egg, but tamago means egg.
boiled egg with the light soy sauce flavoring. It tastes great. I think it'd go better with some sake. I'm really into that right now. Side note, Takahiro only did jailhouse interviews with journalists and publishers if they paid him a gratuity, a tip if you will. He would use that money to purchase snacks.
In prison.
He would almost start every single session with Mr. Ono talking about food.
Again, if he's an author, why is he here? And not like, he's not a journalist, right? Is he just here to like get info on making books? Like, here's a real serial killer, let me get inspiration for a book or something?
Takahiro, do you buy your own bento with the money that you have saved? No, I don't buy bento, only snacks. If I buy a bento with my own money, the government doesn't give me a bento that day. So wouldn't that be a waste? Netizens would be upset about this comment since it's such a blatant, in-your-face reminder that he's living off taxpayer money before the trial. Takahiro also worried about COVID-19 because the initial wave was happening while he was in prison.
That means this is 2019. She just said a new Nirvana song had been playing when he killed, but he did all these killings within like 2 months, which means this all happened in 2019 or 2018, 2019 or 2020, whatever. So did she just mean like a Nirvana song that they had not heard before came on the radio? Because I don't remember Nirvana coming back in the early 20 or the late 2010s, early 2020s. I'm guessing that's what she meant by that, because again, Nirvana's been gone since '94.
But it's not that he cared about human life, but he was concerned that it would affect visiting hours for prisoners, and he wanted people to come visit him so that he could get free snacks. He said a lot of controversial stuff to Mr. Ono while awaiting trial. Talking about another case, another serial killer, Takahiro ironically said, "I think that if you can't raise children by yourself, you should leave them with someone else. I'm someone who wanted to have children, you know?" Mr. Ono, recently, I've been making spicy ramen by adding shichimi, spicy peppers, to my cup noodles. Sometimes I can't even wait for the hot water to arrive, so I just start making the noodles with room temperature water because I don't have to wait for that. Eating is like my stress relief. There are certain foods that I consider my jackpot.
He seems to have issues with like this, with waiting. He doesn't like to wait. He needs things the moment he wants them. Impatient. Like hyperfixation on impatience. I mean, that's not how that sentence should be go together, but you understand what I'm saying. There's just something wrong with him on a patience level.
I like noodles.
Patience level.
Sometimes they serve tempura soba. Those are good. Mr. Ono tries to guide the conversation back to the impending trial and the crimes to see if this guy has any sort of remorse. He asks, "How did it feel?" I have to admit, my heart was pounding very fast the first murder, even though I wasn't exercising. I was just so aroused by not the dead bodies, but later, after I had killed a number of people, that feeling developed and I was aroused by the dead bodies. And I even took pictures. Takahiro told the author that he was kind of shocked that he was arrested because he had no idea that Yumi was involved. When he talks about his arrest, he talks kind of like it's Yumi's fault. He doesn't outright say it, but it's almost in the subtle verbiage. The woman who trapped me called me to the train station, and when I went there, she wasn't there, and I was followed by the police as I returned home. About 2 hours after I came back, the police came in. When you were arrested, did you think that you had been set up by that woman, Yumi? No, I didn't realize until later because the investigators didn't mention the girl to me at the time of the arrest. Takahiro closed his eyes. When the police came, there were bones and heads in my apartment. It's very difficult to dismember a person from the neck up. I tried. The face, hard to break apart. When I looked into it, I found that the bones in the upper half of the face, especially hard. So I gave up on those before I even started, and I was just planning on throwing all the heads away. Takahiro, it's often shown on TV now that you covered your face with your hands when you were first arrested by the police.
Yeah, I'm commenting on that. I'm just assuming he's covering his face so they don't see it for whatever reason. Also, I don't know if I'm just noticing this now. I guess it only makes sense. I was like, I'm like, looking at her eyes, like I guess closer than usual, and I'm like seeing like the subtle sway back and forth, which, if you know what I'm talking about, it's just like they're moving back and forth as if they're reading, and it's like she's reading a teleprompter. And I was like, well, I guess, duh. I mean, she can't just be reading this just out of thin air, right? She just has all this information just in thin air. So I'm guessing she's staring at a screen, reading all the information, possibly even the scripts for what she's going to be saying. Like I'm assuming all of this is scripted, of course, but like even more so than I was thinking. I don't know why like that just came to mind. It's just I saw her eyes slightly moving from the left and the right, the left and the right, as if she's reading. I was like, yeah, no duh, of course she's going to be reading.
Why often shown on TV now that you covered your face with your hands when you were first arrested by the police? Why was that? Takahiro explains that he instinctively covered his face because there were a lot of journalists present when he was apprehended. But he said that he would have shown his face if one of those reporters had paid him to. Takahiro
Yeah, of course.
told Mr. Ono that he had no intention of acting innocent during the trial. He said, "I have no intention of arguing over the facts during the trial. However, my lawyers have done a lot of thinking. It seems like they're willing to fight. But judging by the current situation, I think that even if we fight it out, it's not going to make a difference." So
I mean, you have a bunch of severed heads and bones in your apartment. Like, how do you get out of that? Other than the standard plead insanity. I don't know how that goes in Japan, but
I'm going to go with Grace.
does Japan have a bad rep when it comes to mental illness and being empathetic to it? Or, I mean, is that just everywhere? Because you could argue eh, there's still a bit of that in America. I'm not sure. But is Japan bad? I feel like there's somewhere that's like not good for mental health. Like they just don't care, or like it's get over it. Let me see. Yeah, there's apparently still seems to be some sort of stigma in the air when it comes to mental illness in Japan. They also just said like East Asians in general, but I'm assuming like Japan. We're talking about Japan right now. So yeah, that is something I remembered correctly. There is a potential low empathy towards mental illness. I'm not sure though. Take that with a grain of salt. That's just what the internet says.
My lawyer is really terrible, though. I mean, I changed lawyers before for the same reason. I asked him if he would proceed without a fight. He said okay, so I appointed him as my attorney. But then after some time, he turned around and said, "Mr. Takahiro, we will fight for you."
Why though? To be like the guy who got him off the hook? I guess it's just business, right? If you are the guy who was able to either diminish or completely get the Twitter killer off the hook for killing 9 people, you are going to be able to charge whatever the heck you want. So I feel like this is just business capitalism, like strategy here. He's trying to go for like the home run or something. He's going for the big money.
So I filed a request for a dismissal, but it was unsuccessful. So I'm just going to have him deliver me some snacks, but I think it's very unfair. Do you have any concerns about the death penalty being on the table, Takahiro?
Does he? Question mark?
You know, I read a lot of books,
I'm guessing that confirms that Japan still has a death penalty.
and I learned about the details of the execution. It looks painful, to be honest. I don't want to be in pain. I don't want to fight through the trial, though, but I also think death by suspension sounds quite painful. Mr. Ono was speechless. This again is the same man that ruthlessly killed 9 people in the same method, but he's scared of the pain for himself.
Death by suspension. Are you telling me in 2019/2020 that hanging is still a method of killing in Japan?
September 30th, 2020, Takahiro's trial commenced. He was charged with robbery, forced essay, homicide of 8 women, robbery and homicide of a man, mutilation, and abandonment of all 9 corpses of his victims.
Abandonment? That's weird. I didn't know abandonment of corpses is a crime. I mean, I guess of course it is, but I've just never heard it spoken before. Yeah, I would assume everyone's just doing lethal injections at this point, right? But I guess not. I guess we're still hanging.
There were a total of 18 very serious charges. Takahiro looked utterly not impressed the whole time during the trial. He looked sluggish. He would take those really exaggerated full body stretches in his seat during the trial, where you put your arms back and you lean back and you stretch your legs out. He would shake his whole body at times, not because he was scared or that he was having some sort of anxiety response. He was just bored. He's like, his legs are restless.
But like, who did he tell that he played the blackout game? Like, who did he tell that to, that we have that information?
And then he would loudly crack his joints. When he got bored, he would start doodling or writing stuff in his notebook, which is wild considering this was not an easy trial to get through. Every single day, several people had to leave at several points because the details were so gruesome.
Also, I'm just getting the, it might sound messed up, but the irony behind the fact that if that is the case, like him, like that was the whole point of talking about that at the beginning, is him being choked out as a kid led to him having some sort of, I don't know how else to say it, some sort of fetish now for doing the same thing to other people. Like, I'm just barely like thinking about that connection now for some reason.
He was bored. He's like, his legs are restless. And then he would loudly crack his joints. When he got bored, he would start doodling or writing stuff in his notebook, which is wild considering this was not an easy trial to get through. Every single day, several people had to leave at several points because the details were so gruesome. A lot of the times, like the prison interviews with Mr. Ono, Takahiro would just close his eyes, listening like he's meditating or perhaps fantasizing. Nobody knows which one. But the defense team for Takahiro, they tried to argue that Takahiro was innocent in a sense because all he did was help these girls leave.
Okay. I guess that's the best they can do. Is like he just gave them what they wanted, but it's still murder. I think you can maybe try to make some sort of like crazy defense out of that. Like, yeah, he was just helping them leave, and he kept their heads around as a memento of their lives or something. Like, not in like a, like they could try to spin that in like a good way. Like someone's still taking care of them. Like, even though they're gone, someone's still taking care of their heads or something. I don't know. Make something up like that. I thought they were going to go for the insanity plea, which is what you always hear about in America. Like, someone tried to plead for insanity so they can't be killed. I guess we're just going with the, he's innocent because he was just doing what they wanted. It wasn't murder. It was just helping someone suicide. But I mean, that's just suicide. I shouldn't have said that because, of course, I'm going to get in trouble now by YouTube because I said the word. Siding is a crime, I believe, in America, right? Even though that sounds crazy, I think siding is a crime. Even though if you try to do it, then and succeed, like, how can you be charged with a crime? You're already dead. And the crime is you siding yourself, right? So I don't know if it would be a crime in Japan. If it is, well, then you're an accomplice to a crime. Yeah, in some places, it's a crime, but I'm guessing that only matters if you aren't successful, and then it's like, okay, you committed a crime, let's throw you in jail, which is only going to make them want to probably side even more so. But I looked up the laws in Japan. Siding is not a crime in Japan unless it infringes on other people, like it causes, like it gets in the way of other people, or if you, as we are about to, I guess, probably hear from her, if you help someone side or instigate someone into siding, then you are committing a crime. Instigating someone to do it, so telling someone to go side, apparently in Japan, is punishable up to 3 years. So, do not do that. Don't do that anywhere, but people shouldn't be doing that, period.
Which is what they wanted according to their, because all he did was help these girls leave, which is what they wanted according to their Twitter accounts. They wanted this to happen and he helped them. I mean, the most that he could be guilty for really is being a considerate, helpful citizen.
Cannibalism, if you're going to go there, he might have eaten them. Could at least do that. They're not going to fall for that, but is this like, who came up with this? Because someone came up with this idea, and all of a sudden, all of them just got light bulbs and like, this is what's going to do it. We're going to get this guy off the hook, and everybody in Japan is going to have to pay us millions to be their lawyer now because we got the Twitter killer off the hook.
Which
So they just somehow thought this was the greatest idea to come up with.
the most that he could be guilty for really is being a considerate, helpful citizen. Which, side note, I made that a way lesser focus in today's episode because I did see some netizens questioning whether or not it was better that he targeted people that already expressed feelings of wanting to leave, which I think is absolutely insane. And I didn't even want that to be a thing. I mean, this guy is a serial killer. He's a sadistic serial killer, and he should be presented as one. And it should not be presented from the victim standpoint of them having certain thoughts or posting about it online. That's not why they died.
Yeah, I mean, he killed them. He's just a killer, right? We're counting it as him targeting the vulnerable. Though some places do have, that's the word I was thinking of, assisted sighting. I'm looking at you, Canada. I'm looking at you for a long time. But yeah, assisted sighting is what we're getting at here. But I don't. It's not that. I mean, he's just a killer. Obviously, they're trying to say that's what it was. So again, I put too much emphasis on like listening to whether or not she uses past tense when talking about someone, and she's still referring to him as an is, like he is a serial killer, not he was a serial killer. So again, if I take too much of that to heart, it feels like he's still alive. I don't know. I mean, it's only been, what, 5 years since then? So maybe he's still alive, but he will die eventually. But yeah, we'll see if that is reading into it too much. That's what I was trying to think of. I don't know if that's reading into things too much.
They died because he's a sadistic serial killer.
Yeah.
But during the trial, it was discussed that Takahiro had 5 accounts on Twitter. They were all focused on negative thoughts and emotions. He would always pose as someone that either wanted to help others leave, where he positioned himself like this compassionate character who knew how disgusting the world was, and he
and then the other guy who's like instigating people to do it.
just wanted to be almost like a counselor on their way to leave. Or he would pose as someone who was going through the same exact process and wanted to leave with someone. This monster was constantly searching for a new victim on Twitter. At one point, he was talking to 37 different Twitter accounts. He would be DMing people while he was in the process of dismembering a previous victim. All the while, he was searching up on his phone, why is assisted leaving illegal? Consensual homicide. How long does one serve for murder? How many people do you have to kill to get the death penalty in Japan? So clearly,
I feel like it depends on the severity, right? And who you kill.
he wasn't trying to help anyone but himself. Takahiro himself did not like the consensual homicide defense, but not for the same reasons as us. He just thought the trial was getting way too long and things would just be faster if his attorneys just were like, yeah, okay, fine, he did it. He thought that
They should have just gone with the insanity plea, assuming that's even a plea you can make in Japan. But I mean, they should just let him. He wants to just be. He just wants to get in trouble as much as possible. They should just let him. But again, it's just they want that money. I'm telling you, that's why they're doing this. They want that money. They want to be the ones who are not actually go down in history, maybe going down in infamy as the ones who got the Twitter killer off the hook, so they can charge whatever the heck they want. I know I've said it like 3, 4, 5 plus times, but that's the only reason they are doing this, is so they can be the ones to say, hey, I got them off the hook. It's the only thing that makes sense.
the evidence was way too much and this was pointless, and it was a waste of his time. He was straight up asked what kind of woman he looked for on Twitter, and he said, women who were depressed. I mean, it's easier to seduce women who are troubled and make them do my bidding. Takahiro would take the stand and answer questions that the prosecutors, so the other side, would ask. And when his own defense attorneys would ask him questions, which defense attorneys will usually ask questions.
Yeah, they're going to ask questions that make the person seem better than they actually are, or she probably explained it better.
For the jury to hear a very specific answer because it helps their client.
Yeah, they're trying to get in, coerce an answer that sounds really good. And then the opposite is for like the offense. But I'm guessing he is just going to incriminate himself no matter what he's asked.
So any question a defense attorney typically asks the defendant is going to be favorable for the defendant. But Takahiro would just ignore his attorneys. They would ask him, "Do you hear me? I hear your question, but I don't intend to answer any of your questions."
Yeah, because he's actively hostile to his defense team because he just wants it to be over with.
So you're not going to answer any of them. I'll answer you because this is a waste of time, but I don't want trouble for my relatives. This is a very long trial. I asked my defense attorneys to proceed with the trial quickly without contesting, and they said they understood, so I appointed them. But suddenly they said they wanted to fight. This is not what we discussed. To be honest, I still hold a grudge. When the defense attorneys, Takahiro's attorneys, tried to ask another question, Takahiro turned to him and bluntly stated, "I'm sorry, but I don't trust you, so I will remain silent." But when the prosecutor, the other side, asked him, "After you strangled the victims, why did you decide to suspend them?"
And he's just gonna talk for like an hour because it's what he likes to talk about.
After they stopped moving. At the time, I was considering different things and what would happen if I was caught. If I were to dump the corpses in the mountains, I wanted to look like they suspended themselves in the vicinity of the mountains where the body would be discovered. I wanted it to look like they were suspended instead of strangled.
She keeps using the word suspension and all this other terms, like getting around the word hanging. I'm guessing hanging is a bad word, but I've already said it this video, so it doesn't matter. Hopefully we don't get the prevention hotline underneath this. I mean, if there's no reason not to. Just put it underneath the video if it has to be underneath there. Don't do it. I'm guessing that's why she's not saying that word. It is a red flag on YouTube, I guess. But I just keep thinking about like the Japanese art of tying a person up, which is called like shibari or something. And that's what I keep thinking he's doing to them because she's not using the word hanging. She's using suspension, and she mentioned like tying their arms and legs together. So I'm assuming they're being tied like an animal, like a hog tied. But I don't think that's what she meant. It's just because she's like, you know, not beating around the bush. That's not the right phrase. She's just tiptoeing over all the words like every other YouTuber does. It confused me there, but I think he's not doing that. I feel like she would have mentioned if he's tying them up like that.
He also mentioned that with some of his victims, he would wrap a towel around their necks before suspending them to make it more confusing for investigators for what their cause of death was. He continued, "To be honest, Your Honor, I thought murder was okay as long as I wasn't caught."
I mean, isn't that every crazy person? As long as they don't get caught, it doesn't matter.
Wow, this guy is on another planet.
The prosecutors continued, "Why were you researching cannibalism in Japan at the time?"
Again, he tried to deny this before. Is he going to now?
"Because I wanted to find out if there were any other similar cases, what kinds of methods they used, were they caught, why were they caught, and to gain knowledge about body destruction and disposal when dismembering bodies."
Yeah, I'm guessing he didn't necessarily have to do it. It's just seeing if that's a viable way to get rid of a body. Because you think if you just eat the body, it's gone forever. You know, it's turned into bodily waste. And thus, if you can eat an entire person, then how are they going to prove that you killed someone if they've all been turned into bodily waste? I mean, I guess, like, you know, eat all the meats, turn the organs into stuff. You can do a lot with the organs, I guess. Like menudo, that is like a Mexican dish. I think that's intestines, right? I'm pretty sure you could probably eat like most of a human body. And then maybe even grind the bones down to powder and use that for something. And turn it into bone meal, whatever bone meal is. I don't know what bone meal is. It's something in Minecraft, right? When you break down bones in Minecraft, you get bone meal. And you can use it for white paint, I believe. So I assume that if you really wanted to, you could probably just consume all of a body. Maybe like you can't get rid of the hair, so I don't know what you're gonna do with the hair, but like nearly the entire thing.
"Did you consume human meat?" "No,
So I'm guessing
no, I did not."
that's why he's denying it here, because maybe he didn't actually. Because again, I was like, why are you gonna draw the line at cannibalism when you've assaulted and murdered? Like, why is that your line that you don't want to like admit to crossing? But maybe he just didn't actually, and he was just looking up if that was like a viable way to get rid of evidence.
At one point in the trial, Takahiro straight up tells the judge, a situation where someone knows they're going to be R-worded, such as a sex worker, which is wild. That's like, I don't even know how to unpack that statement in and of itself. But he continues, in a situation where they know they're going to be R-worded, it's less exciting than to suddenly attack a normal woman who doesn't know that she's going to be R-worded. The judge tries to clarify. As far as you remember, Takahiro, is that what you were motivated by? Is that what you were aroused by? Suddenly touching a woman's chest when she was in a normal state, or licking a fainting woman's chest, to be honest? Yes. The judge interrupts. I don't think a typical R-word situation would cause fainting, so why did you make your victims faint? Because I could foresee that they would scream or become violent. Do you have any interest in relations with a woman who does not resist? Or is it just resisting? Just resisting. I felt pleasure in relations with a woman who was unconscious or tied up. I was not bound by appearances or age to a certain degree. Takahiro does answer a question from his own attorney.
Again, what happened to the woman that he was kind of like dating and actually kept her alive and didn't snitch on him? Like, what happened to her? Are we going to figure out what happened to her?
And that was, if you hadn't been arrested, what kind of life would you have had?
Isn't it just him doing this forever? Isn't that just the answer?
Now, I would imagine that most defendants would say something along the lines of, I would have lived in guilt and likely turned myself in. I would have stopped. I would have found religion. I don't know. I would have stopped because it was becoming too much for me to handle mentally, and I realized that I was a deplorable human being. But
Huh? Like, if you're a psychopath, no? I'm pretty sure the answer is I would have kept doing it. The only reason I'm not doing it is because I got caught, right? That's the answer, isn't it?
Takahiro closes his eyes and responds, I plan to take the bodies out of my room, bury them in a rental room perhaps, or in the mountains.
A rental room? You bury them in a rental room. You know, rent out a room, upheave the floorboards, and then bury them below? Is that what that means?
Terminate the lease for the loft apartment, move out, move into the room of another woman that I found on Twitter, reset, and do it all over again.
Do the killings again?
Yeah. He also stated,
Yeah, I mean, that's no surprise. He doesn't have any guilt. I mean, I was hoping that there would be some guilt here, again, with the smell, that M. Night Shyamalan Telltale Heart thing that I kept talking about. But I mean, there's, like, negative guilt here. There's pride and joy in this for this guy.
if I had just killed one person, I might still have a future. I could have become a monk, offered my prayers, reflected on my actions, but now...
Well, I mean, we watched yesterday, if you haven't watched that, The Dark Ages with Megan, the serial killer monk. I mean, that guy was a monk. He was out there killing people. Becoming a monk does not stop you from becoming a serial killer, so he would have just probably done it again, even if he did become a monk.
Now that I've killed 9 people, well, I don't think I can do that anymore, right? Side note, Takahiro does try to defend himself to a degree during the trial. He tries to do mental gymnastics with everyone, trying to get them to believe that it's actually the judge and the government's fault that he killed people.
Wow. Is it it's all y'all's fault? Y'all the ones who turned me into this scenario?
Prior to this, Takahiro was working as a scout. And like really quick, we've already touched on this quite a bit in the hostess bar case of Yuka Takaoka.
Yeah. The yandere case.
But a scout is typically a guy that roams the streets and tries to find women that he thinks would be interested in working at hostess bars or sometimes sex work adjacent cafes. If they're interested, he's going to bring them to whatever cafe he works with. And if they like her, they're going to have her start working there, and Takahiro gets paid a finder's fee, which makes it sound like a mutually beneficial relationship to a degree. He gets her a job, he gets paid. But at the same time, scouts will gaslight, trick, lie to girls about what type of job they're going to work.
Oh, is that the first time she's used the word trick?
Big thing
I'm surprised she knows that word.
Scouts will gaslight, trick, lie to girls about what type of job they're going to work. A big thing is many scouts will pretend to date a girl that he meets on the street and then convinces her, babe, please go work at this hostess bar for us, for our future. He keeps them working, and then they'll ask the club for more commission off her earnings if she does well. They will find the girl's vulnerabilities and insecurities and basically exploit them, saying things like, don't you want to work harder for me, for us, for our future? Takahiro was a shady scout. He wasn't a very good scout, but he was a shady one. Allegedly, he told a fellow scout that he preferred minors because they were unaccustomed to life, aka they were easier to manipulate. Takahiro was arrested for scouting and he was on probation when he started killing.
Okay, so we got information on why he was on probation from the get-go.
He said he only killed, he just wanted to R-word women. But he had to kill them because if he got caught for R-wording, since he's already on probation, he would go to jail. So the only reason...
I mean, he would go to jail no matter what. What do you mean? Unless the laws there stop you from going to jail if you assault once. Like, huh? Like, you already... What do you mean? Like, the assault itself is what's going to get you in jail, not the fact that you're in probation.
And he killed...
He's he's seriously living in La La Land.
If he got caught for R-wording, since he's already on probation, he would go to jail. So the only reason he killed them was technically the government's fault. Because if he hadn't been on probation, he wouldn't have killed them. He would have just R-worded them. He said getting caught at that time was a big deal. If I hadn't been caught, I think I would have continued to be a scout without committing any crimes or anything, which I liked being a scout. To put it simply, it was a job where you can just lie on the couch and talk to girls. It's fun, it's lucrative. Anyway, I couldn't go back to working as a scout because I was on probation and I didn't feel like working a real job. So I thought, theft? But then I couldn't think of a way to steal money. The only thing I could think of was to use a woman for money. So I found them on social media. Then I met Allison and then I wanted to R-word her, found out she had money, I killed her. He also blamed Twitter, stating that it was very easy to approach vulnerable people on Twitter to deceive them, and that's why he did what he did.
And I still don't know how that's even possible. But that's just coming from someone who only uses it for posting my VTubers and 3D models and artwork that I make whenever I get around to making them, which I have not had any time to make them. I need to find time somehow at some point. Because there's one I started like forever ago and it's still sitting around unfinished. But yeah, it still baffles me that people can just like hook up off of Twitter. Or just like meet up from Twitter. Sure, like a dating app or whatever, like, what's it called? Tinder? Like Tinder. But, like Twitter?
Takahiro stated that his primary motive was money, but nobody believes that. When asked about the crime itself, Takahiro stated, "My heart was pounding from a guilty conscience, but I felt a thrill of doing something wrong. It felt good to have intimate relations with this type of thrill. The feeling of the R word turned me on." When asked if Takahiro felt guilty for what he did, he told Mr. Ono very bluntly, "To be honest, I don't have feelings for the victims. In other cases, I've seen people apologize to the victims and their families, but in my case, I don't feel anything for the families. Well, maybe I feel a little bit for the victims. Allison was my first victim. We had spent quite a bit of time together, so I kind of maybe feel a little bad there. Ella, because she has a kid, so I feel bad about putting her child, who still has a future ahead of her, in a situation where she doesn't have a firm maternal foundation. Fiona, because I honestly could have just used her for her money a bit longer, so there really was no reason why I killed her so soon. I don't know why I did that. But honestly, the other ones, nothing." As for Ivy, the one that he essayed after her death and engaged in necrophilia with, he said he felt bad and he regretted killing Ivy only because it led to his arrest. Only because Ivy's brother led to his arrest. So he regrets killing her because it got him apprehended. But for the others, nothing. He said he doesn't really know them. He doesn't even know their names. He found out during the trial. He only knew their Twitter accounts. So how could he feel regret for killing them? As for the death of Charlie, Takahiro said he actually felt proud that he was able to overpower Charlie. And
yeah, I was like, again, I don't know how he killed him to begin with. If it wasn't for the drugs, I guess he already had at the time, because there's no way he could have like overpowered the guy. He looks so skinny, unless it's just another skinny guy. But a scuffle would have broken out, right? If he tried to do it by hand. So I'm guessing it was just the drugs.
Kill him, his only male victim. But Takahiro's mom would state, "My son is too timid to even kill an insect."
Okay, well we've talked about this recently enough. You have the two spectrums of parents who don't give two cruds about their children, or even worse, and then the other spectrum of parents who think their children are angels no matter what they do. They are always going to be little angels and they will protect them from everybody, and to always take their side no matter what. And I'm guessing we have that latter version. Possibly she's still going to be on his side.
Which, side note, Takahiro mentions he hates bugs because when he was going through the dismantling phase, he briefly thought about maybe he could get rid of the bodies by either...
Or you'd have bugs eat them?
buying like 700 liters of acid to dissolve the bodies, but he thought that could actually dissolve the tub itself, so he decided against it. Then he thought maybe he could purchase maggots to eat the bodies, but he just really hated bugs. He was like, I'm so grossed out by bugs, I don't want them in the apartment. Meanwhile, the boxes of bones are fine, but his mom said he's too timid to even hurt a bug.
But he's admitting to doing it. So, if you want to be like conspiratorial, he's like admitting to it too hard. If you want to go that route, like, oh, he's committing to, he's like saying he's done it so hard. Like, no, I did this thing. This is how I did it. I liked doing it. So I was like, oh, did you guys really do it? Is someone making you say those things? But, like, no. Like, that's not what's happening.
Perhaps it's because he hates them. It's not because he's gentle. But to Takahiro's mom, he was her everything. I mean, even before
He was. That means he's dead? Question mark?
he was born, Takahiro's mom had a vision of what her firstborn son would be. She spent hours poring over books on Chinese characters in their meetings, and she decided on Takahiro, which means prosperity, nobility, and vastness. It's supposed to symbolize wide prosperity, which there's really nothing noble or prosperous about Takahiro. By most accounts, he had a somewhat normal, comfortable childhood. His version of rebelling against his parents was to go to public school rather than private school like his parents wanted. But if his parents weren't babying him enough or giving him enough attention, Takahiro would run away, pretend like he had thoughts of self-exiting, which he never did. He would straight up say, I did it because it made my parents be nicer to me and give me more allowance. Sometimes he would go as far to leave his laptop open where he was joining exiting communities so that his parents would see, but he had no intention of leaving.
It just seems like he has, even at a young age, a high capacity for manipulation. Because obviously he's manipulating all these people really well. And even was manipulating his parents as a child. So he just has a brain made to manipulate.
Sometimes he would go to sleep with a rope next to him or leave his final notes out in the open saying goodbye. But he, again, had no intention. He said that he did it so that they'd be nicer to him and baby him.
So he's manipulating everyone around him.
Yeah.
He knows how to get everybody's emotion. Yeah, I think that's where he get the idea from. And then he just uses that everywhere.
Yeah, and it's crazy because his parents actually never visited him in jail. They cut off all contact, but they really did baby him.
What do you mean about the mom sticking up for him then?
I think that
Also, rewind.
His emotion, yeah,
Say
I
that
think
again.
that's where he get the idea from. And then he just uses that everywhere.
yeah, and it's crazy because his parents actually never visited him in jail.
That sentence, I think, kind of tells us all we needed to know. His parents never visited him. Oh my god, what is wrong with me? His parents never visited him in jail. That implies that they can't visit him anymore. So I'm guessing he's dead. He got the death penalty.
They cut off all contact, but they really did baby him.
There's no way he got out of jail. So the only option is that he's dead. His defense should have just gone with the insanity plea, because now it's like you went so hard trying to get this guy to not be guilty. Again, I'm considering the defense team to be bad guys here. I mean, people hate lawyers, right? But I'm saying like these are the lawyers who are the bad guys who are like, okay, I can't see it any other way. I've said it like 100 times. They wanted to get him free so that they can be getting all the money, just raking in the money on all the people who would hire them from now on. They could charge whatever. They got this guy off the hook. They can get anybody off the hook. So where was I going with that? Yeah, now they, I'm assuming, lost this, and they just humiliated themselves, the defense team, taking this case and trying to get him off the hook just to lose everything. So I wonder if they're even still around doing work. Probably. I wouldn't know, of course, but yeah, they should have just pleaded guilty, but they wanted to, saw dollar signs in their eyes.
I think that maybe they realized they played a big role in how he became the way he was, to a degree.
Blaming the parents? What?
And you know how the shaming culture in Japan is very strong, like
Yes.
family names.
Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
way they could stick by him.
Yeah, something like this.
But I do think that they were probably not the best parents. Even the way that she would describe her son, it was just giving very babying the son to the point where he would do anything to get what he wanted. So he had nobody in his life while he's going through this trial. And Takahiro even asked Mr. Ono to publish an article to get him a wife, to tell the world that Takahiro, the Twitter killer, was looking for a partner in marriage.
I don't think he would have posted that, but we all know there's definitely people lining up for that. I don't know if Japan's as heavy or not. Maybe Japan's not like that. Maybe there's not that many women who are crazy about serial killers. But again, that's just for some reason that's just normal. They can easily get women to come visit them in jail and all that stuff. So, did he post it and did people show up or?
He said, if you're already going through the trouble of publishing an article, I was hoping to use the opportunity to find someone nice. Are you thinking about getting married in prison because of what can happen if you're sentenced to death? That's right. When you're sentenced to death, you won't be able to have any visitors other than family. If that's the case, I thought it'd be better to be married to someone because then she'll be considered family and she can come visit me and bring me stuff.
Okay, so because he has no family now that's gonna be on his side, nobody's gonna be bringing him stuff. Yeah, I mean that's what she just said, but I just realized what they meant by that. Like the entire time he's in prison, nobody can come see him.
So blatantly, too.
Yeah.
She's like, yes, I'm going to use her.
I need her to bring me stuff, duh. What else would she be around for? In the final statement in court, Takahiro was asked if he had anything else to say, any final thoughts. He stated, I have nothing more to say. December 15th, 2020, the judge stated, the defendant is sentenced to death.
Okay.
Did you hear me? Yes, I heard you.
This was the reaction on court?
Yeah.
Wow.
The judge then read out the sentencing, and because there were so many victims involved, it took 1.5 hours to read the full sentence out loud. Takahiro was itching in his seat, ready to leave. He did not seem fazed at all. The biggest concern Takahiro had, like I said, was being lonely in prison. That's it.
Again, like there's something mentally wrong with him. Of course, mental illness isn't an excuse, but I mean, clearly there's something wrong with him.
Now, it is interesting that capital punishment in Japan is carried out via suspension. Some netizens stated that this is poetic justice, that he will endure the same fate that he forced his victims to. But others are concerned that perhaps Takahiro might enjoy it in a sense.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's just going to like it. Again, if we're taking the thing that happened at the beginning of this video as true, I think this is like a perfect way for him to die in his own mind. Like he's going to love it, or he did love it. It's like everything seems to revolve around suffocation. Like it happened to him as a kid, and that possibly spiraled out into a fetish where he did it to his victims, and now being forced to exit life via that is just probably going to be the icing on the cake for him.
Considering his fascination with it. Plus, a lot of netizens point out there's an interesting phenomenon called rigor erectus. Due to the method of putting pressure on parts of the brain and spinal cord, many men who are exposed by hanging develop a physiological reaction in their private parts. Netizens wonder, as a man with a sadist obsession with asphyxiation, would it be so shocking to believe that he might like the way he goes out? The victims' family members gave their final impact statements. Allison's brother stated, my sister never wanted to leave. I could see that she was trying her hardest, and I cannot forgive the fact that the perpetrator, who is so unfazed, is the same type of human as all of us. It is my greatest hope that he will be gone from this world as soon as possible.
Okay, maybe he's not. You know? You could just assume maybe he's not. Maybe he's a demon. I don't know. I mean, we're being supernatural at that point, but if you need something to cut the edge. Like, just consider him not to be human.
Diane's mother stated, "The day I was finally reunited with my daughter's remains after she went missing was on her birthday. She was completely unrecognizable, and instead of wishing her a happy birthday, I had to tell her that I finally found her, and I had searched for her for a very long time. I can imagine how much pain she must have been in." Bella's parents stated, "If our daughter was alive today, she'd be in her first year of college. But to us, our daughter is still a freshman in high school. No matter how much we want to see her grow up, time remains stuck in that day. Our daughter's life cannot be compensated with the perpetrator's life. Even if he is sentenced to death, we want him to suffer until the very last end. That is our wish." Diane's parents stated, "At least if we had her whole body in one piece, we could have at least put her in her coming-of-age kimono for the celebration. But we can't." It is important to note, whatever the victims were going through, each one of them fought back. Every single one of them. Bella even texted Takahiro last minute, "After thinking things over, I think I'm gonna go on living." He ignored her and pressured her into his apartment under the pretense of just being friends, where he murdered her. Each one of them had defensive wounds, and they fought for their lives. And now all that's left of this case is to wait for the execution date. And Unit 205, Takahiro's House of Bones, has a new tenant. The new tenant stated, "The rent was low, location is good, so why not?"
Oh, someone's just going into there? I mean, someone just lives there now? I mean, some people just don't care, man. If they know that if a place is cheap rent, someone must be... someone must have been killed there, or it's haunted, quote unquote.
And that is the case of the Twitter killer.
Okay, so he's not dead. He's waiting to be killed.
Yeah.
This is really, really bad. Like the speed, the pacing, the how quickly it all evolved.
Twitter was actually forced to implement a lot of changes because of this case. That's when they had the hard launch of not enticing, not encouraging, leaving. Those types of verbiage became a lot more sensitive. But what are your thoughts? And please stay safe. And I will see you guys on Sunday for the next episode. Bye.
Oh, we actually have like 10 seconds left over. Usually when she says bye, or it gets to this point, there's like almost no time left to pause the video, so it doesn't like pull up all the extra videos. I'm surprised there isn't a little blue helpline down here. This video has so much to do with siding, so it's weird to not have the crisis and side hotline down here. Weirdly enough, I fully said side this episode, right? So if the blue side hotline is underneath the video, that's why. But yeah, I'm guessing he's still alive, so I guess people will probably rejoice when he leaves this world, question mark. This video's from a year ago, so maybe he's actually dead now. But I think, unfortunately, that he probably is going to enjoy how he goes, so that's rough. Yeah, I don't know if I was like really privy to this story. If I was, I didn't know any of the finer details, so that's basically the entire thing. But yeah, I don't know. I've already obviously said everything I have to say about the video. I don't know what we're going to be watching next time. So 2 days from now, or even tomorrow. I guess maybe another Dark Asia video tomorrow. We'll see. I mean, I'll just have to like think about it in the moment, and I'll just scroll down the Rotten Mango stuff a couple days from now, seeing what I want to see. If there's any suggestions, as usual, let me know. Any of like the Rotten Mango stuff. That's what I mean by that. If there's anything, cause we've watched so much of this stuff, like my channel is going to end up catching up to having all of her videos on my channel, which feels bad. It's like, really? Am I just going to end up watching all of her videos, and it might as well just be a second Rotten Mango / Stephanie Sue channel? Because at the pace she posts, I'm going to eventually catch up if I watch every video. Which seems like really messed up on my part. Like I'm doing something wrong by doing that. So I don't know how many more videos we're gonna go into. At least like most of the short ones, maybe like the ones that are like 2+ hours. Like that's pretty rough. But like if we have any more short ones, those are probably okay. So just let me know if there's any suggestions that are left. I haven't had any specific Rotten Mango videos that have been suggested in a while, outside of her just doing her Stephanie Sue Shiniverse stuff, which again, the mukbang ones I feel like are just off limits because I don't want to watch. I don't want to react to someone eating. But the videos where she's not doing that, we can maybe think about doing it. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say. Hopefully, I can become partner in the next couple days. I can check right now, even live, how many watch hours I have. Oof. You gotta be kidding me. I'm 2 hours off of reaching the quota to become partner, which I mean, that means tomorrow I'll have enough. Because again, the YouTube is 5 days behind. This isn't caught up. It's YouTube processes these hours 5 days behind. So that means I will be able to apply for partner tomorrow. We'll see if their new policy that comes in 3 days screws me over and I'm not able to become partner because of reaction content no longer being allowed on YouTube. Not necessarily no longer being allowed, but being considered, I don't know how else to put it, but other than being too lazy and reusing content, and thus not able to be monetized, or maybe even not even allow someone to become partner, because if that's like their main source of views, I'm guessing. I can only imagine that might be the case. So it's gonna suck if after all this time I finally am able to climb up to being partner. They implement a rule that specifically stops me from becoming a partner, but it's fine. Again, I'm not going anywhere even if they do that. I've been here for 1,000,000 years. I'm going to be here for another 1,000,000. But yeah, tomorrow we will possibly hit the milestone and see what happens there. See if we can become partner. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Remember to buy my stickers or think about becoming a member or subscribe if you haven't subscribed, because we're working on watch time and subscribers. And we have a throw now as well. And shout out to the members: EmmyStarr, RaleyDrew, and alexgkiller 880. Also, this video is going to be a day behind too. So technically, the day that you watch this video, like early in the morning, I will have reached the quota for partner. Because this video will be going up 6 o'clock, technically today, because it's 4 a.m. right now for me. And then like 4 a.m. after this video goes up, I should be able to check and then apply for partner. So pretty close to when you're watching this video, I will be able to try and become partner. So not even like a day later, like literally just a handful of hours later, I'll be able to apply. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Tune into the next episode. Like, subscribe, comment. Do the do. See ya.